Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Firedup Network. Welcome to a special afternoon Black Friday edition of the flagship show of the Firedup Network, Fired Up Live. We got almost 4 hours of original programming for you today. Here we go with the Renaissance Mama, Courtney Riddle, to begin the show.
Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to three crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi, friends. It's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to check out this episode. I hope life is treating you well. I hope you are getting excited that we're coming to the end of the year. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen fast, and it's going to be busy, full of holidays and events and projects and so much more that all of a sudden 2023 will be here, which means a brand new year with new goals, new projects, and so many new opportunities. I want to share a story with you. So recently, I have been working on a brand new project. I am so pumped about it. It is totally aligned with what I want to do. I have been really strict on trying to get things done. It's one of those things that takes a bit longer than you think it is, which is most of life, really, especially things that are important to us. So I've been working on this project, trying to get it finished. I have some big goals for this project. I'm like very, very proud and excited about it. And while I was busy working on this project, I was contacted by a friend of mine. She's a woman entrepreneur who I love, of course, and she asked me to kind of hop on this other project for the week. No big deal, me being super people pleasing. I was like, yeah, no problem. Then all of a sudden I realized, wait a second, maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now. I have goals. I'm working on this project. I'm super pumped about this project. I don't know if I can put the time and effort into this. Plus, the thing she was asking me to do isn't even something that I'm really focusing on right now. Unfortunately, I had already said yes. And I do not like to go back on my word. So, lesson learned, I should number one, really consider my priorities and boundaries and think about things first before I said yes. But then what I decided to do is instead of, freaking out and being worried that I couldn't take on this new thing, I decided to take it as a different opportunity. I decided to take it as a time to work with these other amazing women, amazing entrepreneurs, see what I can learn from them, see how I can support them, and really work on those relationships. So the goal no longer was really that final project. I decided, nope, I'm going to work on relationships with them. I'm going to see what I can learn from them. I'm going to see what we can do together. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how do you build relationships, business contacts, connections. I mean, I don't know about any of you people, if you're doing your business out there, it gets lonely. It's hard. We are putting on so many hats all the time, doing all of the things that sometimes you kind of wish you were going to an office full of people. You kind of wish you had all these supports and this outlets, and even just someone to just like say, hey, do you like this idea? What about this? What about that? Help you with the decisions, help you, get inspiration. Being an entrepreneur can be lonely. So you need to find your people. You need to find your community. You need to find your support. But sometimes finding, developing, keeping up with those relationships and connections can get totally pushed down to the bottom of the priority list. It just happens. And we've all heard that saying of, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. And that makes sense to me. I get it. Of course it does. I mean, if you are trying to do something like lose weight, for instance, you want to be with people who are eating similar things to you and have similar goals for you. Nothing is worse when you're trying to lose weight and you're eating like a salad and the person beside you is like, oh, I got my big burger and fries and man, this is delicious, right? You want those people around you because they're going to inspire you. They are going to help you. They are going to, give you good habits and good behaviors. They might be someone that you can look up to. Maybe they're doing things that you wish you could be doing, so you could mimic what they're doing. So you need to find your people. You need to find your circle. And that's what we're talking about today is how do you work on those relationships? How do you develop those connections? And how can you be a person that someone wants to have in their circle as well? The first thing I would do if I was to look for building new connections or developing new relationships is I would start looking with my circle already. What all about? Are they supporting my goals? Are they not part of my business? And they don't all have to be. There's so many times I talk to new entrepreneurs and they're like, I started this business and my family thinks I'm crazy, or my sister thinks I'm nuts, or my friends just really don't believe in me. That's fine. They are allowed to have their opinions, but maybe those aren't the people you're going to go to about business advice. My husband is great with business, but he doesn't know my business. He's not super artsy or creative. Some of the things I do all the time, he just doesn't quite. So when we have conversations about things, I have to know, okay, I'm going to only ask him about this specific question because that's his sort of lane. And if I'm going to look for something else, maybe I'm going to chat with someone else. But I also don't want him to feel like he has to all the things for me just because he's there all the time. He's my partner. He needs to have his own avenue and his own lane. I don't understand his work a lot of the times. We can have conversations, we can talk about things, I can give opinions, and we can chat back and forth, but I don't want to put that stress on our relationship. He shouldn't have to now be my business advisor because he's the only one that's here. Sometimes taking certain relationships and being like, okay, that is what that relationship's for. It doesn't have to be part of your business connections. Your business connections could be something very, very different. My mom, for example, is very creative. So when I'm looking for some of that out of the box thinking ideas, I usually call her up and we kind of go through things back and forth and I kind of throw after see what she's thinking about. But then when it comes to business, no, thank you. I will go to sales because she doesn't have that background. So no offense, but why do we think that all these friendships and all these people have to be all the different things? I really don't think they do. So that would be my first suggestion, is to really look at your circle of who you're hanging out with, who you're going to for business advice, who you're looking up to, who you're kind of checking out all the time. Because if you notice, okay, here are the people I have, then you can take a step back and think of like, what am I missing right now? Right? I have a friend who does this. Okay. I have a friend who does that. I have a friend who does this. But where are you, especially when we're thinking our business circle, our business connections, who do you have in that circle right now and who are you missing? So the first person I think you need in your business circle is you need to find someone that you can bounce ideas off of. So this is probably going to be someone that might be a little bit similar to you. They don't have to have the same business. They don't have to have the same goals, but you want them possibly to have a similar drive, maybe a similar outlook, a similar positivity. When I took B School earlier this year, it was incredible because I found this huge group of like-minded people who were so pumped to start their own business. They were so excited to learn a new way. So I learned with them. And then after we were done learning, I didn't want those relationships to end. So a few friends started our own little Facebook group and we connected that way. And it was great because not only were we similar in the ways that we experienced this, learning experience together, but we were similar in the ways that we all had these big goals. We had these big dreams. We were working on them, but we were still in the middle of it all. We were working hard, right? We needed to do all the work to make sure it got done. And one of my best experience from B school was meeting someone right near the beginning when I was really having a hard time focusing on what my next project was. I know, me not being able to focus, shocking, but I was having a really hard time putting my energy down, how to focus, how to get to what I wanted. I knew I had all these big visions, all these big goals. I just really didn't know what that next step was for me. And I was pumped, I was excited. So then that adds to the energy and the chaos. So I found a friend through our B school learning. She lives nowhere near me. She doesn't do anything similar business-wise, but she and I had some great conversations and she gave me some amazing ideas. She was like, why don't you try to mind map it? Why don't you walk through and do this or do that? So that's exactly what I did. And it was because of her, I was like, yes, I got so clear. I got so focused. I knew exactly what I wanted to do and what was next. So I continue to maintain that relationship. And I love seeing what she's up to. I love sharing with her some successes. I love even going back to the drawing board with her and being like, hey, listen, I'm working on this now. What do you think? And she might throw out some ideas. Then she tells me about something she's doing. And we go back and forth like that. So you really need to find someone that you feel comfortable just bouncing ideas with, a little bit similar to that you can have that you both kind of get each other and really get those ideas and creativity going. The next person you have in that circle of friends is someone that does certain things a little than you do. All right, so it took me a long time as an entrepreneur to finally admit, listen, I can't do it all. I'm not great at everything. I'm pretty good at a lot of things. I can learn really quickly, but at the end of the day, I can't be the best at everything. That's the reality. So I was trying for so long to try and do all of the things that I finally was like, nope, hold up. This isn't it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it for anyone. It took me so much longer to do certain things. And the reality is there's a lot of things that I'm just not that great at. So if you can find someone that you can either collaborate with, work with, eventually, potentially someone you can hire that will be able to do some of those things that maybe you just aren't great at. I had been teaching my musical theater classes probably for about 6 years. By the time I finally found somebody that I was like, okay, come on board with me. I need you. You need me. Let's do this together. So I shared with her all about my vision, my programs, how they work. And she was like, awesome, this is perfect. And she is so detail oriented. When we into musicals with the kids, she is very specific on every little note and tone, whatever. And I realized that is not my forte. I am the big picture. So that's how we joke back and forth, is that I do the big picture. I have the vision. I will take things, but little details, mind. I don't even notice, just come and go so quickly. That is her thing. So good at that. So trying to find those people that you can really work with, that, like I said, they might be a little bit better at something. And then there's probably something that you've got that you can give them back. That you're like, listen, I loved that you helped me with this. Can you help me with that? There is no shame, especially when you are doing it solo. You don't have the money to hire someone. Why not ask if there's a little barter you can do? I'm sure you have some incredible skills that you can share with a friend and vice versa, that you guys could really support and grow and help each other. That next person that you need in your circle of business friends is you need to find an accountability partner. This is so key in anything you're trying to do. If you're trying to grow a business, if you're trying to make a change in your life, if you're trying to reach any sort of goal, you need to have an accountability partner. And this could be someone that's in the business world with you. This could be a really good friend. This could be a family member. But you want somebody who is going to believe in you, who is going to, call you out when you are not doing the things you said you were going to do. This is the person who's going to motivate you. This is the person who's going to knock you around if you don't do the things. So you need someone that is going to make sure you do the things you said you were going to do. And what I would do with this accountability partner is, even, like I said, you could be that person for them as well. So have a very clear conversation of this is what I need you to do for me. This is what I can do for you. And let them know, these are my goals. This is when I want them done by. I'm going to call you on this day. I'm going to send you a text message on this day. And if you don't do those things, you've got to make sure that person is on you. I have a friend of mine who is so talented. She is absolutely talented at everything she does. She's a baker. She does photography, but she has a hard time believing in herself. She has all these ideas and she wants to do these things, but she's just not too sure on how to do them. And recently she had this big change in her life. So I told her, this is the time. This is the time you need to start all those things that you're afraid of starting. This is the time you need to, I wouldn't even say take a leap, because you can do it while doing the other things. You can have the safety net. But I kind of hopped on her and became her accountability partner, even if she didn't want it. I was like, listen, this is the first thing you need to do. You're going to do it by Monday. And I'm going to call you on Monday. I called her on Monday and she had an excuse. And then she had another excuse. Then she had another excuse. So I realized after doing this for a good week that I was pushing myself to be her accountability partner. She actually didn't ask me to do it. So as much as I thought this was the thing that should be best for her, I realized, okay, I will back off. She hasn't asked me. But when someone does ask you to be an accountability partner, I think that's a huge compliment. That is asking you to join that inner circle. I imagine a boxer and you're the coach behind with the water and you're giving them massages and you're pumping them up and you are in their corner. So you need someone like that. You can feel it already, that energy. Can't you imagine someone just pumping you up and you singing your song, chanting I just love it. You need that in your quarter. So find for someone awesome that's going to be your accountability partner, that's going to be able to push you, that's going to be able to challenge you, that's going to be able to give you grief when you don't do the things, but that's not going to happen because you're going to do the things you said you were going to do. Accountability partners are so awesome. So the next person you need in your circle of business friends is you need somebody who's just a little bit ahead of the journey from where you are. Now, I'm not talking a mentor. A mentor to me is something different. A mentor is someone that I believe we also should need. We'll talk about that in a second. But this person in your group, I want them someone you can still contact all the time. They need to be accessible. They need to be someone you can ask questions. They need to be someone that's just, like I said, that tiny bit further in the journey than you are. So for me, I would be looking for someone who's an entrepreneur. I probably want them to be a mom, because I need to have that visual of okay, this is similar to me. This is similar to where I want to be. This is what she's doing. And then I can either, see what she's doing and ask those questions, or I can mimic what she's doing, or I can really kind of dissect and research what she's doing. But for me, I think it does need to be a little bit similar to what I'm doing personally. So I want that life, work, integration happening. That is very important to me. For many years, I listened to a lot of different podcasters and I liked them and I was super inspired, but it wasn't until I found someone that had a family that was doing all of the things, but with their kids at their house, with kind of that out of the box thinking, that I was like, wait a second, I can do this too. I could totally do this. So having that person that's just that little bit ahead of you, so you can ask questions, so you can engage back and forth, and you can get that inspiration. You can see what they've created. I would even go as far to say is really trying to finding someone that has that ideal that you've decided you want in your life. Maybe they've just reached goals that you dream of doing one day. Maybe they are very successful in a certain area that you're like, yes, I would love to do that. So finding that person is such a good tool to have, to access, to really work with. And then on the flip side is I do believe you need to have those mentors. Mentors to me though are kind of ones that are like untouchable. So we might not ever meet our mentor. I know nowadays it's a little bit easier to have contact, whether you're actually talking to them or not, who knows, might just be someone on their team. But I think having those mentors, once again, that you can connect with, that you see similarities with, that you see something in their life and their goals and what they do, really kind of hits home with you, really makes you think, wow, that's something I want. That's something I could do. This is the part I really like about them. And it doesn't have to be everything, because that's the other thing too, is yes, there's some mentors that I love that I'm like, okay, well, I don't like this part of this, and I don't like this part of that. That's fine. You're not gonna love every single thing they do, but it's really fun to kind of dissect where they came from, how they got to where they are, and the work they put into it, right? Like, what is their work ethic? How do they make goals? How do they keep these great daily habits? How do they, work when you're tired and exhausted and dealing with other things? How do they balance family, life, work, integration? How do they keep up with the ever constant changing? How do they adapt their business? There's so many questions, but I believe mentors are really important to have, as well as that person that's just that far ahead of you on the journey. So we've talked a little bit of the people who I think you really need in your business circle, but now how do we find them? How do we start those relationships? How do we, develop them? How is this going to even work? So the first thing I would say is you always need to give first and then ask later. So if I'm looking to really start connecting with people, I mentioned this project I'm working on, and I was kind of weary about doing it, but then I decided it's all about connection. It's not about selling. It's not about promotion. It's not about those other things. I took a step back and I thought, how can I possibly do the things I want to do? How do I connect with these ladies? So the first thing is I thought, okay, I'm going to give first. So I contacted all of them and said, hey, can't wait to work on this new project with you. This is going to be awesome. Is there anything I can help you with? Or I noticed this part of your video I really loved. Maybe next time you could try this. Hey, I saw you had a question about this. What about this, right? Like, so give first. And I don't mean like nitpick. And I don't mean, give corrections, because if people don't ask for those things, remember, you might not be the person to give it right now. But if there's anything you can give first and then ask, I think it's a great way to start relationships. It's a great way to build relationships. It's a great way to really show who you are and how you're trying to connect with them. So how are you going to find these people that you can put into your new circle, your new business people that you need to have? Well, you're going to have to put yourself out there a little bit. Maybe you need to go to an organization. Maybe you can go to a networking group. Maybe you can hop on a Facebook group full of like-minded people doing the things that you want to be doing. But I would highly suggest is that when you are looking at a organization or a networking group or anything to really start connecting with people, it needs to be the right fit for what you need. I've said it before, I have this fantastic networking group that I'm part of. It's all entrepreneurs, and it's really all about kind of our connection of what we're doing within the world with our business. We don't get into details about business. We don't do a sales pitch to everybody. We don't ask for contacts. We don't do any of that stuff. But what we do is really connect as people and then as business owners and how we can support each other. So someone might throw out a question of like, hey, I'm really struggling trying to keep consistent. What is it for everybody's tips? And we talk about that. Or we really talk about like a goal that everyone might have, or a feeling, or one word. Every week is like we watch a video about something, and that word triggers all these conversations and all these feelings and all these emotions. And it seems to be like the networking group that I need right now, because I don't have that outlet and we don't have that communication right now. So it's perfect for me. Years ago, I went to a different networking group, which actually was run by the same woman. And it wasn't at all what I needed, which is too bad, but that happens and you got to put yourself out there. But it was totally one of those ones where you sat there and you ate lunch and you did your sales pitch and you tried to talk to people, and people didn't seem very responsive. It wasn't what I was looking for though at the time. So I think that's something to think about. If you are in a situation and it's not really what you need, then you're not going to give it your all. And if it's not what you need, you're not going to take anything from it either. So really trying to find that network that works for you, that you can learn from, that maybe there's someone there that you're really inspired by. Maybe there's someone there that you see you can help. Maybe there's someone there you're like, oh my God, that's kind of like me. I used to do something like that too. And reaching out to them. I have no shame in contacting someone and being like, hi, this is who I am. I noticed this about your business. I loved how you spoke about this and that. And like, is there any way I can help you? Like, could we have a quick chat? Can I send you some information? Can we do something together? Maybe there's some way you can collaborate. I love when similar businesses support each other and collaborate and create something really unique and fun. Because not only do I think that says something about you, but I think it says something about your business. And I think even as a customer, I'm like, ooh, look how well those businesses work together. It just makes everything seem so much better. So finding a good networking group or a good organization that you can really connect with, and they have the same beliefs you have, they have the same possibly goals you have, but really kind of making a decision on like, all right, this is going to work for me for now. And there might be a time where that networking group no longer is what you need. So then you need to move on to something else. Find some new networking people, but networking is so important. And there's so many options out there now on how to do it, how to connect with these people. With everything being so virtual, it's crazy to be able to connect with people from all over the world and really, really chat with them and engage. On the flip side, I've been in situations where I was connected on one-on-one with somebody who was supposed to sort of be an accountability partner. And I was like 5 minutes into the meeting and realized this wasn't my kind of person. I was sharing what I was about and my goals and my visions and this and that. And it was like, she wasn't interested. She wasn't giving me good vibes. It wasn't a networking relationship I wanted to pursue. So the meeting finished. I said, thank you so much. And then I moved on. And that happens as well. So I think being very clear on what you're kind of looking for right now in your networking group or in your people that you want in your circle is very important. The next thing you want to think about when you're engaging with these new amazing business people is you need to know what you eventually want from them. And I mentioned before, we want to give first and ask later, but when it comes to the asking or you want to have a certain conversation with them, I want you to know exactly what it is that you want. you got to be honest. These We are busy people. We are entrepreneurs. We're doing so many things. I had a meeting a few weeks ago with somebody. I was introduced by someone else, which was wonderful. Thank you for that. And we sat down to have this chat, and this woman started talking and like was being very personal. And then I finally just said, "I'm sorry, but what is it that you need? Like, how can I help you? What is going on?" And she was surprised that I was so kind of blunt, but the reality was I'm looking at my clock and I'm like, I don't have time right now. I want to be there. I want to help you. I want to do these things. What is it that you want? So she explained what she was all about and the project she was doing, and she still didn't quite get to what she wanted. And I said, okay, well, I could do this for you. And I offered to, share this and do that. She goes, well, actually, and then she got to what she wanted. So part of me walked away from that conversation thinking like we could have got there a whole lot sooner. Number one, if she was very clear from the beginning and said, here's what I would love from you. If you have the time, if you wouldn't mind, if this, or here's what I could help you with. I think you just need to get super clear and respect everybody's time, respect everybody has a lot of things that they're doing, and respect that potentially that person may say no. And they may say no because of all those billion reasons, and that's okay. So you can move on to somebody else or move on to another time or say, thanks, you know what? I really appreciate it. Maybe next time, right? Don't end that relationship, right? You never want to end those relationships unless it's really not working for you, but always keep them there, keep them thinking about them. But I would say if you really want something from someone, make sure you know what that is. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't waste their time. Don't do it if you don't want to bother them. I would make sure you know exactly what you want. So when it has that conversation, when they do have that little bit of time, when they are honoring you with having that conversation, you're like, you know what? Here's what, if you wouldn't mind, could you do this for me? Another thing you want to remember when building these relationships is you want to kind of do those unexpected personal things, but you want to do it really genuinely. So if I'm asking someone what I can do to help them, I want to actually mean it. I don't want to just throw it out there. I don't want to just say, I'll share this, I'll do that. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, right? That's what we got it started in this whole conversation. I said I was going to be a part of something. And even though I was busy, even though I should be focusing on other things, I said I was going to do it. So I want to do it. You got to keep your word. If you are trying to build these relationships and you're trying to make these connections and you're trying to support others and have others support you, you're trying to get all these things happening, you have to be that genuine. You have to be honest with them and you have to do the things you said you were going to do. Nothing is worse than making a great connection, thinking things are awesome, and then like never hearing from that person again, or someone saying that they were going to do something and then it doesn't happen, or things are going to happen. The world, lots of things happen. People get very, very busy. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want to be taken serious, if you want to make those real connections, you've got to show up. You've got to do the things you said you were going to do, and you've got to respect other people and do the same for them. So my friends, I hope you liked this little episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you. Hop on therenaissancemama.com. Chat with me. I would love to hear from you. What is one person in your business circle that you're like, I could not live without? You might not need to share a name, but I just want to hear from you. Like, oh, is it your accountability partner? Is it that person that's like, hey, you got to get this done? Or maybe it's someone that's super positive. I know someone who does these really big launches and she always brings a friend in who's just good energy because she knows everyone's going to get tired. But this person like pumps everybody up, gets them really excited. So maybe it's someone like that. Maybe it's someone that you totally admire and you think is fantastic. So I want to hear from you. Who is that person in your business circle that you're like, I cannot do business without this person because they are part of my circle. All right, friends. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now, friends.
That was Courtney Riddle, the Renaissance Mama. Courtney, big part of Fired Up Network and female empowerment movement. We're going to be joined by my good friend Carmen Asako here We're going to discuss day 6 of the World Cup. Each and every day, we've been giving updates on the World Cup. Carmen, a big part of getting Team Canada where he is right now. And Carmen is going to join us right now. Carm, are you there?
Give me one sec, sorry.
All right. Okay. That's Carmen Asako here. We're going to recap the three matches from today. By the way, the Maple Leafs have an afternoon game in Minnesota. They are currently 2 minutes left to go in the third period, and the Maple Leafs lead 4-3. 4-3 for the Maple Leafs over the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota wearing their old uniform, and Maple Leafs now wearing a patch signifying Borja Salming. Of course, Borja passing away yesterday at the age of 71. Carmen is joining us now here. Carm, thanks for joining us. We usually do this early in the day, but because of the World Cup, lots to get to, and we're doing it live now. So let's start off today. Earlier, you were up. I was just, combing my hair and everything like that. 5 a.m. His phone falls down. But when I say combing my hair, all right, Iran, Iran defeats Wales 2-0. Again, the phone falls down. I think Iran hates Wales. Their phone falling down, but Iran beating Wales 2-0. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, surprising result. Wales had a fantastic second half against the US and kind of continued that in the first half against Iran. But a 98th minute winner after a red card from Hennessy, the goalkeeper. I can't say well deserved, but it's about winning games. It's not about being the better team. So great result for Iran. They put themselves in a good position to if they get a result in against the U.S. But so it's interesting to see that everyone's still in, but it was an opportunity lost definitely for Gareth Bale and the boys.
So, we talk about the refereeing. Do you agree with giving the goalie a red card in the 94th minute?
I mean, the situation was brought to VAR, so it was done pretty much by a panel, and pretty much they turned the yellow into a red. So yeah, for me it was a red card. Yes.
All right. Well, both goals late after time expired. Now, another kudos to Senegal. 3 goals. Qatar getting their first ever goal. Congratulations, home city and everything. But they're going home. They are
Yeah.
going home.
Yeah.
Losing to Senegal 3-1. Go ahead.
Oh, at 0-0, there's probably a penalty shout that Qatar should have had for sure, definite penalty. But again, referees, making a big impact in this tournament so far. So the decision didn't go their way, and the Senegal found ways to get goals. They weren't a work of art, and you could see that. Sadio Mane is a big miss. The Bayern Munich star is a big miss for Senegal, but they've put themselves in a good position again. Um, it's not going to be straightforward for Ecuador by any means, but it's Ecuador showed again today that they are a solid group and probably deserve better against Holland. But yes, Senegal, Sadio Mane less was good enough. Didn't really create things. Created some stuff. The first goal came off mistake. It was just a sequence of mistakes, and they just they look a good team, but they don't look like they're going to threaten, or they have those threatening situations all the time. And for whatever reason, the coach brings in Sar later in the game, and probably maybe it's because of what he's been used to in the Premiership. But yeah, they need something more. They need something more, and they haven't really found that focal point that's Mane was for them in the qualifying in the African Cups of Nations.
All right. The third match, Netherlands, Ecuador. Netherlands first half, good. Second half, terrible. Then Ecuador took it to them, 1-1 draw there. Take us through Netherlands, perennial, Final Four. Let's say Final Four, eight, always, but they always struggle in the first couple matches.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, again, a team like Ecuador that they're probably not as prepared for, but the athleticism of Ecuador really showed. Their technical ability really showed. Valencia's quality really showed. And you talk about the number nine factor, and Valencia is that for Ecuador. He's that focal point. And he commands people. Commands people, takes more spaces, opens up more spaces for his players. But yeah, I thought Ecuador as a group in their repress was very good. In their combination play, especially in tight spaces on top of the box, were very good. Hit crossbars. Found a very good Dutch goalkeeper who I thought has been the best, if not for Couture in game one. The Dutch keeper has probably been the second best of the tournament so far, and I think that they owe him a lot for that 1-1 result. But by the end of it, you could see that both of them were satisfied with the 1-1. And they did get a goal called back late in the first half, which looking back at it, it looked like the player was hindering the goalkeeper. So as far as the interpretation of the laws of the game, it was a good call to call him offside. But again, I thought, as we talked about earlier, I thought Ecuador was a very good team, and they probably were more dominant in the midfield, where you see like matched up against Frankie De Jong. I thought they were the better team in the middle third, and Caicedo and company are really quick, energetic group. I think they're going to be it's going to be a tough out for them. Obviously, there's always the possibility that they stumble against Senegal and they don't go through the group. But I think all they need is a tie. But I think that they need to get on the front foot. And we don't know the status of Valencia. Valencia went down twice in the first game as well. So we've got to see how that knee is. But if he's out, it's going to be a different type of Ecuadorian team. And who knows? But like Senegal's got a lot to play for, but Ecuador does a lot to play for, and I think they'll be a tough out moving forward in the round of 16.
All right, the final match of the day. Everybody wanted to see this match. England, United States, donut 0-0. It benefits. Who would it benefit? Because England has to be disappointed with the 0-0 draw, or do they?
No, I think their fates. It's okay for them. Their fate's in their own hand now. Regardless, even if they probably lost this game, they would have had to win the next game as well. So that doesn't change much for them. They still have to go out and beat Iran, and that was going to be the scenario regardless, unless they found a way to win, which no one here would have been surprised if they did, because I thought overall they were the better team. I thought whether it's underestimation or they were underestimated or they were just had a bad day. I thought England was slower. I thought England was not as invested until the end, where they showed something and they were dangerous on restarts for sure. But I thought overall, McKinney's miss in the first half was huge. I thought that Pulisic, going at them gave them a little bit of fits. And I thought that Wright coming into the game and starting as the target, it's complemented by Weah, was a good move by Berhalter. I thought he added something. I thought he kind of unbalanced the two center backs a bit, not enough to hurt them. But in the end, again, it's moments. Zimmerman had a terrible moment against Wales where he gives up the PK, and he had a few great moments in this game, and so did Ream in winning headers or clearing balls or dealing with restarts. So that's where the U.S. have put themselves in that position where they're on equal playing ground with some of the giants like England. And same could be said about Canada. They were on equal playing ground or better than the Belgians, who, if you take whatever you take from the FIFA rankings, were the second ranked world in the tournament. So lots to be said for the performance of the U.S. And lots to be said that they didn't find a way to lose that game, but also to be said that they didn't find a way to win that game, and they did have opportunities. And you know, and I thought even Shaq Moore coming in did a really good job subbing in for Serginho Dest. I thought there was good performances from the U.S. all over the field, but not one great performance. And I think that there was a lot of bad performances for England all over the field, and that they didn't complement that bad performance with one good moment. So a lot to be desired. I thought it was very tournament-esque performance by England. They should be through. They should be comfortably through. Well, I mean, they have to play Wales, and Wales just have to go out there and win the game. So you never know. Um, so it would have made things more comfortable with a better performance by the English. But right now, it's a lot. Everything's to be played for in that group, and
All
don't
right.
count the Iranians out.
Yeah.
What momentum and energy and a little bit of belief can do a lot of good things, and the U.S. must tread lightly. But if you look at the easiest game, supposedly the U.S. have the easiest game. Um,
Well, I don't know if it's easy. That these guys are rivals, not in soccer, but everywhere else. So, it could be it could be a foul fest. Put it that way, a
yeah,
foul.
you go back to 1998. Don't forget
Yep.
when Iran beat the U.S. At a pivotal time and a pivotal time in their relationship as well as political rivals.
Yeah. So tomorrow, 5 a.m., Tunisia, Australia. Who you got?
I think the Australians are just looking to perform better because they were bad against France. They were very bad at the things that they're supposed to do well: box defending, defending restarts, defending in a low block. All those things they're supposed to do well. They didn't do well against France, and I don't think that they're going to have much of the ball. I think the Tunisians will still uh, dominate the ball, and Australia is going to have to be good in transitional moments, get forward, and be good on their restarts and getting the balls in the wide areas and good on crosses, like they scored their first goal against France. But overall, I think that they need a better performance, and I do think Tunisia is going to be on the front foot.
All right, 8 a.m., Poland and Saudi Arabia. Of course, Saudi Arabia shocking the world. First match. Do they shock the Polish tomorrow?
Yes, they could. Yes, they could. Poland hasn't been. I mean, like the one thing that surprised. Well, I mean, if Poland learns how to stay onside, Lewandowski, of course, scores 6 goals. I don't know if they're going to adopt the same tactics that they did against Argentina. Maybe their coach thought, their manager thought it was just going to be a loss anyway, but they managed to get Argentina offside 7 times or 8 times in the first half, something crazy. So I think the Polish analysts, video analysts, are going to see that and they'll react appropriately. But in saying that, I think Saudi Arabia has some good athleticism, some very quick players, good 1v1 players with the ball, and they have to be cognizant of that because Glick looked like he was whatever 38 years old, like he is, and he looked really slow. Their back three looked susceptible to counter, susceptible to being second to the ball. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic, and the Polish, whether it was the conditions or whether it was the tired legs or lack of preparation, because everyone's in Europe only had that few days. I think that if they come out the same way, they could be in trouble again. But they do have the potential, the experience, and Lewandowski to be great. And remember, they were a PK away from beating Mexico, who put on a good performance.
All right, the next match, arguably maybe the best match of the day. Actually, the next two matches are good. France and Denmark at 11 a.m. Who's your pick?
You know what? I think that it's France is if we're talking John Nelson's juice boxes, France is probably at least maybe 2 goals to the plus, maybe, and that's not on paper. That's not a far-fetched reality. But I do think that and without Delaney now, the Danes don't have that kind of stable defensive midfielder that or box to box type midfielder. Um, and who knows? Does Polson come in and make take a part in this? Who's been a big part of their national team, and he's doing still kicking well at Leipzig. So I don't know what the changes they make, but if Denmark is in the same um, tactical and um, same mentality, I think that they could be in trouble. I think they could be in trouble against the French. But the other question is who's going to score goals for the French when Giroud, or who's going to be that focal point when Giroud comes out? Um, and again, when are those injuries and the lack of depth in the lack of depth? That's all arguable. But the presumed the assumed lack of depth in the French lineup going to come back and hurt them. Um, but I see France being too strong. I see Denmark not being very good in transitional actions. I see Denmark not having the pace to hurt them in the back. And Rabiot's form so far has been absolutely fantastic.
All right, and then the last match, 2 p.m. It's going to be a war. Argentina, Mexico. Argentina, if they lose this game, we could be saying goodbye, na 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 na, goodbye to Argentina. Do we?
Ah, I think it plays right into the Mexicans right now because the Argentinians have to get onto the front foot. They have to attack. Mexico has been very good at soaking up pressure and getting forward right away with 2, 3 passes. And the Argentinian back, especially their back two, Otamendi, hasn't proven to be the most athletic player in the league. And when Mexico attacks, they'll have spaces to attack because the Argentinians are going to be on that front foot. They're going to send numbers forward. And it's going to be about performances. Angel Di Maria has got to have a better performance. And the changes that he may make. Who's going to come in, who's going to be out for the Argentinians as far as balance. And is it Paredes again? The Messi factor is always the Messi factor. But again, they're lacking that. Like we talk about Diaz, who had the ability to score many many goals in the Argentinian league. But is he the prototypical number 9? Has he performed well for Manchester City, albeit he hasn't had a ton of opportunities because of Haaland? But he has a lot to prove, and this is the game to prove it because they will soon, change their approach to the game if he kind of fades away and doesn't be that efficient number 9 that they need. And Di Maria the same. I think Di Maria had a lackluster performance, obviously coming back from injury. Hasn't played a lot of games in Serie A, but still he needs to be better right now. So I'm looking at an Argentinian team that is going to defend. Is going to attack, get on the front foot, get numbers forward, get their wing backs, whether it's Taliafico or forward or it's on the other side. Sorry, but Taliafico and their right and left back getting forward is going to be key for them. But can the Mexican exploit those spaces, especially in those wide areas, which they are famous for? They are absolutely famous for that. And does Jimenez take a part? Jimenez hasn't been the same since his head injury with Wolves, but he probably won't start the game because of there's going to be a defensive focus. And let's be honest, the Mexicans get out of that with a draw. They're ecstatic if they come out with that game with a draw.
Yeah, and of course Sunday they have 4 matches, but 2 matches here in Canada that we're going to be interested in. 11 o'clock, Canada plays Croatia, and then 2 o'clock. Everybody's forgetting about it. Spain, Germany. Germany has a chance to be out as well. I know we're in Canada. We concentrate on Canada, but Spain, Germany, that arguably could be a final any time around here. So Sunday, great action here. Now also, Carm, I know we talked yesterday, but it's still fresh in everybody's mind. By the way, the Leafs beat Minnesota 4-3. 4-3, the Leafs winning. They play in Pittsburgh tomorrow, but yesterday we lost an icon, a legend in the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're known for soccer, but as you've seen throughout the week here on the Fired Up Network, basketball, you got it. Hockey, you got it. Football, I'm gonna squish the fish. You don't have it. All right, but talk about Boria Salming as we had a day to understand and everything like that. Boria Salming gone
Well,
at the
think about.
age of
I
71.
mean, I also think this, like even locally, think about all the Swedes that came into the NHL because of his experience,
Yeah,
and has made a massive impact. Are in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Matt Sundin is one of them for sure. And
yeah,
and to be fair, they were all soccer fans. I remember when I was playing with the Shooting Stars at Maple Leaf Gardens. Before games, we used to see Matt Sundin and Ty Domi and Felix Popman just playing soccer on our field where he played in that indoor in the NPSL. But his legacy is a testament to a whole country's development of hockey by those players coming into the NHL. I mean, if you could have named two Swedish players in the NHL when Borja Salming came in, I couldn't. But for me, he was, and not only for that, for it was all international players. There was the Russian invasion that came later,
yeah.
but for the
But he
Swedes,
opened the door. Let's face it, and
he
further to
opened the
that
door.
point,
And if without him, we wouldn't have had the NHL standard, wouldn't have been as high as it was because he set the standard for what a Swede should be. And that he was incredibly influential in this game, in this city. It's his legacy will live on forever. We'll be talking about Borja Selming for years to come.
and further to that point, this year where he was at the Hockey Hall of Fame induction, look who went in: Daniel Alfredson, a Swede, and the Sedin twins from Vancouver. So those, and if it wasn't for Salming, I guarantee you, those guys, we would never hear it. We would never hear from those players. So again, Boria Salming passing away at the age of 71. Yesterday, we'll touch more on this. I got Toronto Stars' own Mark Solinsky coming on right after this to discuss Borja Salming. He was around. He covers the Maple Leafs for 40 years. He was around there. But Carmen, looking forward to tomorrow. First, now it's match day 6. So now it's starting to pick up here in the World Cup. Like we mentioned, Argentina could be gone. Qatar is gone already. Sunday, Germany could be gone. When you look at it, Argentina, Germany, they could be gone in a second match in a round. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I could believe that. I mean, this was always going to happen with somebody. I mean, can you believe that the Italians are not in the tournament? Can you
Yes,
believe
I can.
that? So all kinds of scenarios. This is why the game's so beautiful. And I got an interesting text from one of my best friend that's at Qatar, and he's like, you know what? It's amazing how I underestimated this experience. He's like, the whole world is here. He's like, do you understand? No other sporting event will the whole world come. No, nowhere, nothing. And when the whole world's there, you guys. I mean, a lot of people, and I probably can't understand the passion that comes with it. And whether you're from Saudi Arabia or whether you're from Giants Germany, if you don't match that intensity and match that passion, you're always susceptible to losing. So this is what the World Cup is. It's a war with the weapons of your feet, the war with the weapons of your passion and sacrifice. That's what it is. Um,
But
and and he just said it's amazing. It's like when the words "the whole world is here" uh, is will never be seen. Maybe in the Olympics, but the World Cup is about the whole world, whether they're in or not. It's the most incredible athletic experience ever.
and put it this way, if they do, Germany and Argentina go, imagine having another World Cup with the guys who are not in it: Italy, Argentina, Germany. Wow. Oh, wow. Right? Like unbelievable stuff. All right, you can reach Carmen at Carmen Asako. Carmen, I know you're gonna have a great weekend. Then leftover turkey because I know you have fans and friends all over the United States. We'll hopefully connect with you tomorrow or Sunday. Of course, Sunday, Canada, Croatia, 11 a.m. And I know I got some comments or whatever, but your comments about once again about Coach Sherman telling we're going to F Croatia up. Your
Yeah,
comment.
there was some
Go ahead.
interesting headlines in the Croatian paper with some interesting pictures as well. So it'll be interesting to see how much influence this has. It's a kind of double-edged sword. You're motivating your own, but you've also motivated a whole country and the massive Croatian community in Toronto that exists. It should be interesting. Should be interesting, but I mean, John put it out front and center, and you got to respect that. You got to respect that. He didn't shy away. He didn't mince his words. He came out and he's like, "Let's go. Let's roll up the sleeves. I'm starting this fight, and you guys are going to finish it."
All right. Well, Carmen is going to come back here throughout the World Cup. Thanks a lot, Carmen. Have a great
See you
weekend.
guys.
If I don't talk to you.
Thank you, Joe. Have a good evening.
Thank you. That's Carmen Asako, one of my best friends and greatest soccer coach in Toronto and let alone in Canada. Carmen Asako. Have a great weekend, Carmen. That's
You
Carmen
too.
Asako. And we're going to be joined by Mark Solinsky just very, very shortly now. Mark Solinsky, of course, I had a second to talk to him and everything like that. So here is Mark Solinsky. We talked about the Maple Leafs, and you're going to see more of Mark later on in the show as we talk about the Grey Cup. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show, special Friday show of Fired Up Live. Welcome to Maple Leafs Forever Leaf Talk. I've tried to get Maple Leaf players, former players, current players. Nobody wants to talk about this. So I got Mark Solinsky, my good, close personal friend of 30 years. He watched Borja Salming. Mark, you know this. Borja Salming, my idol growing up. Borja Salming, and I'm going to say, I usually say I'm the president of the provinces of Canada, but this guy was the king. And we won't get to the reason why he was the king, but he was the king. Unfortunately, Borja Salming passing away yesterday at the age of 71. A week ago, we all witnessed at the Hockey Hall of Fame game, Daryl Sittler lifting up his arm, and he was emotional. Daryl Sittler was emotional. William Nylander was emotional. To think a week later, passing away, and Borja probably knew that he's on his last legs because going from Sweden to coming to Toronto, going back and all that. So he look at the player, just the player he was. He didn't take, Philadelphia beat him down, and he needed one more goodbye and kudos. Maple Leafs get always, I guess, blamed Montreal does it better and all that, but for once, I could say I've never been prouder of a Maple Leaf organization, Maple Leaf fans, Maple Leaf players. Daryl Sittler, was Tiger Williams, Lenny McDonald there, all William Nylander shedding a tear. Go ahead, give me your memories of Borja Salming.
Well, Joey, one of the first Leaf games I did, Borja was still in the organization. I think he played from 73 to 89, and, Daryl was still there. I guess it's not so much memories because everybody's got great memories of Borja, and you mentioned the Flyers, trying to kill him basically, and he just kept going at them, and they eventually got respect for him because, he survived, and not only survived but excelled in all the things they tried to do them, which they wouldn't get away with now. So I think it's more at this stage, years later, and you're getting older, we're all getting older ourselves, that you realize that this type of thing is, it's special, and it's one respect for the time it happened. Then it's even more special because, like they say, it's just, you're never going to see something like that again. You're not going to see a defenseman play like that, take abuse like that, be a pioneer for the way he played. it's just one. There's just one who comes through time, and he was the one. And I think that's, what I feel. And beyond the sadness today, and the sadness is immense for all of us. It hurts. It hurts to think about. So much going on in the world, and a person like that who made this world better is gone. It just hurts, and that's all I can think about, because, like I said, the memories are there. You want to. I remember Boria watching him in practice skate, and that was in the early '80s. And I watched the Leafs skate now, and he was just in those older skates, like that are antiques now, like Santa Claus wouldn't use them right now. He could skate backwards, forwards, so smooth. You'd hear the ice on his edges. He's just natural. And his shot, I remember watching him shoot the puck. I thought, out next to Lanny, I think he had the best shot on the team, and I think he had the best slap shot on the team.
Yeah.
Because Lanny had, what was to me the original, dynamite snapshot. Lanny could get that shot away like Wendell had it there. Matthews has it now. Nick Robertson has it. But Boria's slap shot was phenomenal. And as a power play guy, I think he's still, to me, the best power play defenseman that the Leafs ever had. And again, I could check the list off, and you might agree or disagree, but people have a list as long as your arm about memories of Boria. But I remember those things, and I guess they take on an added weight now in that he's gone, and so much time has gone. And it's not the time went faster than anything. It's just when time goes by like that, there's a weight to it. There's a weight of a life lived. And yes, his life was taken away from us too soon, but there's still a weight of a life lived. And that's what impacts me right now, as much as memories. It's just the value of it and what it means to all of us, and that we may not be able to say these things in the same context with the same weight and the same feeling in the future, because, like we said, he's one of a kind.
He's definitely one of a kind and great guy. And could you just, I don't know if you did the game a couple weeks ago, but just look at the memories, and this should tell you, with everything that's going on with COVID and all that, he diagnosed, I think, at the end of August. In 3 months, look how precious life is. For people who go around and all this, look, you got to give a hug to, it's just past Thanksgiving in the United States. Give a hug. It's the holiday season. Give a hug to your loved ones, to your family, your brother, your sister, your wife, your daughter, anything like that, because like that, it could go on. Look, Lou Gehrig's disease, 3 months into it. And this guy's the strongest guy. Let's face it. Remember, when playing in Detroit, he had like 260 stitches on his eye, and still playing like a couple days after and all that. Just Borja Salming, a class act. And honestly, Mark, I'll put it this way: the best defenseman in the Maple Leafs ever.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to say that, Joey. Some people might look at it in context of time again and eras, and that the game was different back then. The speed was different. The skill was different. But like I said, and I mentioned about his skating and his shot, and then what he went through as a pioneer. And, let's face it, the brutality that he faced, hockey brutality, when it was allowed, when guys were, you look at the equipment back then, Joey, the gloves, the pads and everything. So Borja was taking a lot of that right on his skin. The only thing that was blocking that was his uniform, like it was thin. There was nothing there. So you factor in all those things in. I don't like, there's very few athletes in this world you'd call the greatest of all time, or the greatest Leaf, or the greatest Argo, or the greatest Blue Jay. Borja ranks up their top 5 greatest Leafs in terms of Leaf defensemen. I think you won't get an argument from me that he was the greatest defenseman the Leafs ever had.
And final question: give me your best Borja Salming memory on and off the ice.
Well, I like on the ice. Every time the Leafs played the Flyers, we all know what happened. We all know that they went after him. They targeted him. They spoke about it openly while it was happening and after it happening, that they went after him because he was the guy that, was basically the guy that made that team work. Now off the ice, we're just in the old Maple Leaf Gardens, walking out after a morning skate, and don't even remember if it was accurately if it was a morning skate or a practice, but if you walked in the halls and there was nobody there, and sometimes the players would go out on the Wood Street because they had I think it was called Wood Street, I can't remember, but they had a side entrance so they could avoid us. Boria would do that, but rarely he'd come out, like out of the normal door. And I was a young reporter, if that's what you want to call it, but I had a story to do, and got him while he was going away, and he was dressed, he had a scarf on, and he was heading out, and I was actually didn't want to go to him. I was kind of intimidated, felt insecure about it, but my legs were moving, so I decided to catch up to him and ask him. Said, "Mr. Salming, can I trouble you for a minute?" And he said, "No trouble at all." And he gave me what I needed. And I know it's something small and it's insignificant to anyone else, but I can tell you the amount of times that happened on one hand over 41 years in this business. I've talked to a lot of great athletes, a lot of great people, and some of them were just like that. They had big hearts, and they knew that, that they had a job and that the media had its job, and there was a mutual respect there. And a lot of times that respect is not, it's given but not received. It goes one way but doesn't come back down the street the other way.
Yeah.
With him, it was great that way. And I never had like a day-to-day dealing with him because I was still a young reporter then, but that stuck out to me as a class act. One, because it really was a big help, and it, you just have a sigh of relief when you're so nervous about to go up to talk to somebody like that, and they actually are kind to you. But again, that word kind and the kindness that he showed, it resonates over the years because, we all want kindness in our lives, and it just makes your day better when somebody is kind to you. And I guess you just don't see enough of it, and that's an easy thing to say, but it is somewhat of a truth, because I think people are really trying to be kind these days. But again, it's hard to come by. So when somebody like Boria, who could have just kept walking and said, "Sorry, I'm on my way out, I'm in a hurry," which I would have accepted, right? And I accept it as the truth, if it was or if it wasn't. But he didn't do that. He didn't know me. I wasn't a regular there as a reporter, but he still gave me the time of day, and I guess that's something that really sticks out to me.
Boria Salming, one of the best to ever play hockey, and for those people who actually know him a little bit, one of the best people in general there. And I got a thing for you. You write books now. You're a famous author, okay? Who's gonna write? You should. Boria Salming book. The ups, downs, everything. Because when Boria Salming was at its highest, and look, I don't have to tell you, Harold Ballard traded away Lanny McDonald, fought with Daryl Sittler, fought with Dave Keon, but never a problem, not that I know of, with Boria Salming. And Boria Salming wasn't the typical Canadian, was Swedish, one of the first guys to come over. And Harold Ballard, never a problem with Boria Salming.
He couldn't have one. And I do remember Harold there, and I remember Harold saying that exactly what you're saying, that he wasn't a problem. He would never trade him. Everybody gets traded in the end, but Boria was a guy you just, when his checkbook, if you're an owner and his paycheck came across your desk, you would just put your signature on it and keep going, and you'd shut up whether you liked him or not, as a person or a player or not, because again, the fabric of the person, the fabric of the player is Leafs history. And just as much, you could say the same thing about Sittler and Lanny, but any of the other guys who played on those great teams in the 70s. But Boria, in his own way, because of what he went through and because he was the first of his kind to go through it, it's a weight. There's something to that can't be denied, and it can't be discarded. you're not going to trade that if you don't have to, or at least until the time comes. But there's just something about it. And Ballard knew it, and Ballard was crusty. He was, cantankerous, all those adjectives, fought with those people. But in Boria, he had something that he knew was a pillar, a cornerstone of what his team was, what his franchise was. And, people came to watch Boria to play. They came to watch all the Leafs play back then because they're all, in my book, real stars. But Boria was a person and a player that, I don't know, like, again, you want to talk top 5 Leafs. That's a hard thing to pick, but he's one of them. And I think 10 out of 10 people, 20 out of 20 people, 100 out of 100 people would pick Boria in top 5. And that, I think Ballard, no matter what you want to call him or what you thought about him or however he was or wasn't, he understood that.
And the last thing I'm going to say, Maple Leafs have retired number 5 and 6. My favorite number because of Borja Salming is 21. It's about time Maple Leafs do the right thing and cherish number 21. Put them up with number 5 and 6. Of course, you got Gilmore or whatever, but Borja Salming, even Gilmore put out a tweet saying class act and a great legend and all that. Maple Leafs should do the right thing and retire number 21. I know Salming's in the Raptor, but 5 and 6, when you go to Scotia or Air Canada Center, Scotiabank Arena, you see it in grayed out or in blue. They should do that for Borja Salming. Don't you agree?
Well said, Joey. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it very quickly. That's a gesture that the organization should make. Let's sit here. We don't have to talk about it, why or any. We know why. Let's just hope it's something they make a very quick decision on and do, because it should be done and it's the right thing to do.
And final thing, we mentioned you're a great author. I think you got a book out right now, and it's the Christmas season, right? I know these cheapskates like Marty Roberts don't get anything, but you got to tell them about your book.
Well, again, Joy, I just want to say thank you for mentioning it. It is a book called Norma. Her name is Norma. She's an older woman who lives in a small town and is very kind, but also very well read, very smart, very literate. And she is it's like a story of an angel in a community. She is a real angel in a way that, just applies to everyday life. She gets embroiled in some corruption in her town and ends up saving her town through her kindness and her wit, but she has to go through hell to do it. It changes her life, but also changes the love around her from all her friends, and most of her friends are young people in the book, and they embrace her, and it all comes out really beautiful in the end. It's a nice story, but there's lessons in it, and mostly it just, to me, it's what's important to me, and I think very important to all people, is the same word we were talking about with Boria, is kindness. How kindness can make a difference in this world, and that's really what the book's all about.
Like we mentioned with Borja Salming, top 5 Maple Leafs, top 5 reporter in Toronto history. It's Mark Solinsky. Mark will be back later on in the show to discuss the Grey Cup. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks again, Joey. Thanks for giving me a mention of my book, and pleasure always being on your show. And as always, best to you and to your listeners, and for a very safe, health, and happy Christmas season for everyone.
All right, where's my present? Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thank you.
That was the Toronto Star's own Mark Solinsky reminiscing about Borja Salming. Of course, Borja passing away at the age of 71 yesterday. And I seriously condone what the Maple Leafs should do. The big brass there, Brendan Shanahan, they should retire officially. Nobody should ever wear number 21 for the Maple Leafs again. Speaking about the Maple Leafs, they beat the Minnesota Wild 4-3 today. They played at 2 o'clock. William Nylander, how fitting was, he has the game-winning goal. The Maple Leafs are wearing a commemorative patch saying Borja on their shoulder. Nice touch by the Maple Leafs. And honestly, everybody talks about how Montreal always do these ceremonies amazingly well. Well, for once, I can say through the last week and a half when it was Hockey Hall of Fame game and how they honored back to back. We don't usually have back to back home games here. They honored him on the Friday, the Hockey Hall of Fame game, and then on the Saturday, they honored Borja Salming alone. There, they did back to back, honoring Borja. Very, very touchy, very classy. Daryl Sittler, as you can remember, tearing up there. Great to see his teammate and couldn't hold back. And the Maple Leafs should retire the number 21 jersey. Now, as you could see each and every week on the flagship show, which is this Fired Up Live of the Fired Up Network, we have the ladies of the Fired Up Network, female empowerment movement. Join the movement at Join FE Movement on social media. We present The Blaze, where we have 3, 4, 5 ladies talk about the hottest topics in the world. This week they talk about Black Friday, which is today. Here is, and it's hosted by Shauna Brown with Courtney Riddle and Giselle Liu.
Hello, everyone. You're now watching The Blaze right here on the FE Movement, Female Empowerment Movement. And today I'm with two of my favorite ladies, Giselle and Courtney.
Hello.
So tell me, how has your day been going, your past week?
It's gone pretty fast for me, but it's been pretty good though. Really good. You ladies?
That's good.
Yeah, I'm better now. I was solo parenting for the past week, and I don't know how any solo parents do it. It was mad craziness. So my partner is back, so that is happy, but I do have a sick kiddo at home. So, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's always have to deal with, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And there's just so much going around. So it's like, I mean, it was expected. We knew it was coming. It's like you're like relearning how to be sick because we haven't been sick in this long. So interesting, but yeah,
That's very true.
How about you, Shauna?
Well, it was just my daughter's birthday this past weekend, so we had a
Nice.
and it was a Roblox theme. So I was really excited about that. I couldn't find anything out there with Roblox on it, so I had to sort of use my imagination to come up with it. I got a few things on Amazon. It was good. We had a good time, and she's 8 already, and so it's crazy how fast it goes. But it was a good weekend and a good week so far. So yeah. So I guess what I'll start off talking about is this. So I'm wondering, are there still company Christmas parties? Is that still a thing? I mean, has that changed since we've had COVID? What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it has. I know my company's going to be doing a Christmas party, so I wonder if it's just going to be like, I really do think everybody's waiting for the company party, just like, okay, now that's another thing we can get back to normal doing. So I definitely think there'll be quite a few Christmas parties.
I think I've heard of a bunch from people I know of like going to parties, but I don't think we're back at the same level where we used to. Like companies would rent out large spaces and everyone stay over and all of that. Like I don't think we're back quite there, but I think we're like getting closer, like a night out or like a nice dinner or you get dressed up, but like I don't think it's like the big spectacle that it used to be in some of the companies is what I'm noticing. I don't really work for a company like that. Anyone can invite me if you want a +1, like I will go with you. But yeah, but that's what I've heard just with friends and listening around. I think they're coming back, but I don't think it's like a full out like let's party.
Yeah, see, I don't have any of those either. That's why I was wondering. I'm sort of an independent person. So when it comes to those kind of things, I just wanted to know, like, is it happening again? I hope it is. And like, where's the party? Like, I want to know where it is, That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. Where are the invites? Come on.
Exactly. Well, right now, of course, the Black Friday sales are on. Now, are you guys taking advantage of any of that right now?
No. I honestly forgot. I totally forgot it was coming up, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, it's Black Friday." And every time I mean to go, like, okay, maybe look online and see if I should like see something I like and I'll get. Like, no, it never happens. Does not
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I've been looking. I don't have anything like set, but I'm like definitely checking around because I have no idea what I'm getting my kids for Christmas. And they're definitely all that age that everything they want is super expensive. So if I could get a Black Friday deal here or there, that would be awesome. I find sometimes too of like Black Friday, if there's items that I'm like, ooh, maybe for me, I've been kind of eyeing a few different things. So I don't know. I've been looking, checking it out. I did score this weekend though. I was super pumped. I was at a store and there was like a sale on like a toy or something. So I bought a bunch for kids' birthday parties because those get very expensive. So I was like, hey, I'll buy some of those and just stock on up. So I was like, yes,
Yeah.
I'll be giving Nerf guns to everybody, just so you know. If you want to invite my kids to a party, Nerf guns for all is what's happening right now. But yeah, I'm definitely on the lookout. There's nothing like in particular, but I'm a thrifty little spender. So if I find some good deals, I'm going to take advantage of it for sure. What do you, Shauna? You find anything? Are you looking for anything, or?
No, I'm just scrolling here and there. You know, if I see something, even just on Facebook, I'll see like, oh, Black Friday sale. I'll click on it and kind of look around a bit. But I haven't gone really deep into it. Although I could see myself doing that if I really put my mind to it. But right now I'm kind of just coasting on it a bit.
I actually feel really bad. I heard of a sale and then I missed it too late. I can't say what it is.
Oh.
Or one of my kids, and I was like, maybe the sale was good, like to the point where I'm like, oh, I would totally have gotten it, but then it sounds like it was so quick and gone. I'm like, oh, that's the worst. When you miss a deal that like would have been really good, I'm like, oh, that we'll see.
Right. Yeah. Well, do we know where the term Black Friday came from? Do you ladies know where it came from originally?
No.
Well,
nope.
Tell you. Now, okay, so this is what it officially says, what it is, okay? It is believed by many that the term Black Friday derives from the concept that businesses operate at a financial loss or are in the red until the day after Thanksgiving, when massive sales finally allow them to turn a profit or put them in the black. However, this is untrue. A more accurate explanation of the terms date back to the early 1960s when police officers in Philadelphia began using the phrase Black Friday to describe the chaos that resulted when large numbers of suburban tourists came into the city to begin their holiday shopping.
Wow.
And in some years, they attended Saturday annual Navy football games. And the huge crowds created a headache for the police, who worked longer shifts than usual as they dealt with traffic jams, accidents, shoplifting, and other issues. So that's the technical reason why it's called Black Friday. And then within a few years, the term Black Friday had taken root in Philadelphia, actually, originally. And the merchants attempted to put a prettier face on it. So they started calling it Big Friday, which is kind of and so basically that's kind of like the whole gist of that. Now my question is, what do you think? Are you going to be doing anything for Cyber Monday? That's the next thing that they were talking about there. Do you guys take part in that?
No, I remember that being like all the cyber deals and everybody's just there by their laptop or whatever, just waiting. Is that what it is? Like, do you have the online deals?
Online deals on Monday. Yep.
Yeah. So do you guys partake in that at all, or how does that work for you guys? No?
I would say same thing as a Black Friday. Like, I have nothing specific, but if there's like some good video games for my kids, sometimes I score some really good video games on that day that they happen to already be interested in. Or like I said, if there's like something that I'm like, I sort of, might be on a wish list, but then I get a good deal, I may be like, yep, we're gonna pick up one of those. So once again, I'm not married to anything this year. I'm really, playing the field, seeing what sales grab my attention.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that brought up a point. I remember, is it Jeff Bezos, the guy who owns Amazon? He was saying like avoid all the big ticket items on like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just because of the economy is going into the recession. And I'm just like, holy crap! Even this guy's saying don't use his online platform to buy stuff.
Yeah, that's a little
Yeah, it'll
weird.
be interesting. It'll be interesting to see this year if those sales are the
Mm.
same, right? If everybody is nervous going into things, what it will be looking like. And it's going to be, I mean, I guess people are still going to buy stuff, right? So, but yeah, that will be interesting to see if the numbers are still what it normally is.
I wonder if he'll make everything way like 70% off and it's like everything's like $50. Like, that would be kind of cool.
That would be very cool. Then we would get involved, right? We'd have to get involved at that point, Giselle. And Courtney, yes, of course. I know you're involved too already. So do we think that Black Friday or Cyber Monday has better deals? What do you guys think?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because sometimes you'll be like 50% off and then all you're really not paying is tax. And it's just like, well, that's not much of a deal, really.
Mm-hmm. They make it seem like a deal, but it's really not.
Yeah.
I feel like I've scored bigger on Black Friday. It's like, I think Cyber Mondays, it's almost like an afterthought a little bit, depending on some of the big ticket items. But I feel like if somebody, like if there's a really good deal, they're going to do it on the first. They're going to do it on the Friday. They're not going to wait till Monday to give it to me. I feel like Monday, you're just kind of getting really specific things. I don't know.
Well, I actually looked into it to see if they did any studies, and they did actually. I'm all about the studies today. You know, like I need to like.
I like it.
Okay.
A lot of education, and there's a lot of educational value. I appreciate it.
It is.
Right. So the results are actually showing that Cyber Monday has better deals overall. Really close, but it's very, very close between the two. And they're saying that different products are better to buy on the Black Friday than they are the Cyber Monday. What do we think would be better to buy on Black Friday rather than Cyber Monday? Like, what would you think if you were to guess what you think would be the best to get on Black Friday?
I feel like it'd be like anything like TVs, computers, anything like technical-ish, because it'd be like maybe they're just trying to get rid of their back stock. And it's like if you actually come in on Black Friday, we're getting rid of our overstocked or whatever stocks. So you just want to get rid of it.
Whereas I feel like almost the opposite. I'm like cyber to me, I'm like electronics, so that will be Monday. So I don't know. Right. That's a funny question.
Well, did some more research. Okay, here we go. Studies are actually saying that to shop on Black Friday, you should do the major stores. So do stuff like Walmart, Best Buy, stuff like that. And they're also saying that for Cyber Monday, you should do more sort of the second-hand shopping kind of stuff. Now, I don't mean like second-hand, but you know, Black Friday, you look to the bigger retailers, and of course, those people can afford to have smaller margins, right? And the exception, of course, is Amazon, which tends to have better deals on Cyber Monday, as long as you're a Prime member, of course, and if you're willing to buy products from resellers, so Cyber Monday is a great time to shop on, like, say, eBay, or to find people that are reselling their items, or even the items that they bought on Black Friday. A lot of people will resell them on Cyber Monday.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that I thought that was kind of interesting. They also say to shop Black Friday for the older. The more current stuff, and then for Cyber Monday to go and do things in like the later generations, like other generations, not this one.
Okay.
Deals for that. And it's also really great time to buy things like, you know, smart home devices, TVs, electronics, things like that are a bit older, that aren't current. So that's usually. Yeah. See, I didn't really know what was the difference really before. So I kind of thought, I'm going to look this up and I'm going to see what they're saying here, because I don't know, right?
That's smart. Yeah.
That does make sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat. So, I mean, if you wanted to buy something on Black Friday and then go and resell it for something else later on Cyber Monday, then there you go, right?
That's also a good point too.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question. They've been talking a lot about, do we think that we should reinstate masks in popular areas. The mandate for this, like, schools, hospitals, really populated areas. And they've been talking about doing that. Now, do you think that that's a good idea? Or do you think we should just stay the way that we are and leave it optional?
That's such a tricky, like, I feel like, okay, maybe hospitals for sure, because if you're sick and you walk in, like, obviously there should be like a mask mandate in effect. And then it's like, if you mandate it for like schools or arenas or like malls, it's just like you're gonna get somebody being like arguing, being like, I don't have to wear a mask, you're not the boss of me, boo, and it's like, oh, do you want that extra hassle? But I've also noticed that since that masks have been optional, people are more likely to be like, oh, somebody's sick, they'll just pop on a mask.
Yeah.
It's something about being told what to do that it's just like people hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me right now, with Parker being homesick, I was definitely wearing a mask out, right? Like, I feel like that's my choice, but I feel it was part of my duty. But it's kind of fun because as soon as I started wearing it, the moment people saw me, they're like, oh, you're sick? And I'm like, no, but there's sickness in my house, so I'm making this choice and I'm deciding to do this. So it's just so funny that we have really sort of changed how we think about masks and how people are reacting to it. Like, I definitely agree with Giselle. I think there's more of a kind of a fight against masks because we were made to wear them for so long. So I feel like responsible people will probably wear them when they're sick, but I don't know if we're ready yet to be told again to wear them again. I don't want the kids back in school. It's so heartbreaking. That being said, though, there's like 8 to 10 kids in all of my kids' classes that aren't there, right? Like every day, everyone's sick right now. So
yeah, true.
It's hard. What do you feel about it?
Well, for me, I don't know. I've been trying to wear masks when I go to the school just because I know there's a lot going on with germs and things like that. But I do see how the kids aren't going to want to keep them on. And it's really frustrating for them. And it's not easy for them to be wearing them all day either. So I don't know. It's tough, but they have been talking about it a lot. And I feel like they may mandate it again. And also they're saying a lot of things like the chief medical officer of health of Ontario is actually saying that people should be wearing masks, that these kids should be doing it. Just because there's like an overwhelming effect happening, like within the hospitals, with the children's hospital.
Yes.
Lots of people are getting sick again. And now, of course, we have RSV that's happening now too, and all of that. So they are actually saying, like, please try to wear a mask if you can. But I mean, we're all going to do what we want to do, right? It's just how it is. But okay, well, that's interesting.
I actually heard the other day for like kids being sick that there was kids being sent to Buffalo hospitals because we don't have any more beds for kids in like Ontario.
Yeah. I mean, that's
terrifying when you have kids. Like, can you imagine going in and having a sick child and you're like, I'm here to the hospital, I need help. And they're like, sorry, we don't have anything for you. So, I mean, then I think of that and I'm like, yep, you boys can wear some masks. Like, get over it. Like,
right.
But,
right. Yeah. I mean, they are pleading with everybody saying we should do it. But I guess we'll see if that ends up happening or not, if they actually go ahead and do the mandate. I know. How old is your little one that's sick right now? Poor thing.
He's 8.
Oh,
how old are you? So not so little, but.
Oh, yeah. Same age as my daughter, actually. You said 8, right?
Yeah.
8 years? Yeah. Same age as my daughter. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, and your other 2, how old are they?
13 and 11.
Okay. Nice. I don't think I ever asked you that. So I'm like, okay, that's cool.
No,
that's good.
I actually, you know what I have to do tonight, which is so terrifying? I have to go to a high school walkthrough because my oldest is going to high school. This can't be right. There has to be something wrong. I'm trying to do the math. No, I just left high school. What? Like, how is this possible? Like, blowing my mind. I don't know how I'm going to even deal with this. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I can imagine you freaking out. I would be freaking out. I can tell you that right now.
I think it's just like setting in now. So yeah, I'm getting a little like, oh my God, what is happening? But
right? Aw. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I know we always freak out because just as mothers, Christmas, it just happens.
Mhm.
Okay, well, this past weekend actually was the Santa Claus parade. I actually missed it because we were doing my daughter's birthday. But did you by chance attend, any of you guys, or did you go this weekend?
I didn't get to. We have so much hockey.
Oh, okay.
It was crazy because I remember attending an Argos game, I think it was, and it was just like the winter fair was happening, which was the last 3 days, and I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We're in the winter fair already? Or the winter wars? Because I saw like the carriages and the horses, and I'm like, what is this? Like, is there like for some reason my head was still stuck on Halloween, and I'm just like, why is there horses and carriages?
It's
What is this? They're
true.
shooting a movie? They're like, no, it's the winter fair, and I'm like, but there's no snow. What are they doing?
Yeah, it comes up quickly. It's like there already. No, unfortunately, we missed it, which is so sad because I do love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So is it something you used to do? Do you usually go? Like, have you gone?
We usually go to, so when we lived in Guelph for a while, so we would usually go to that one or potentially the Cambridge one, or there was one we used to love. It's in this little town of Rockwood, and they would decorate like farm equipment with tons of lights. Like, it was just stunning. But there'd just be like one thing after. It's called like the Parade of Lights. But I've definitely been to the Toronto one too, and love it. It's so nice. I mean, I don't know. Right now, like you said, with the masks and the being sick and whatever, do I want to be in a huge public place, even if it's outside? But yeah, no, I definitely sad that we missed it.
Yeah.
My daughter, I haven't taken my daughter yet, actually, and I'd like to take her. Maybe we'll do it next year or something, but I think she would definitely love it. Do you guys have any like funny or special stories about going to the Toronto parade at all, or?
Years ago, when my youngest was like, I want to say like 1.5 or 2, he was so tiny, and he didn't really know who Santa was. He only knew him through the Wiggles movies. So he could barely talk at the time. He was gibberish. And I just remember like he slept through most of the parade. And I was so upset because I was like, you bundle them all up, you get there, you do the parking, you walk to your spot, and he was like passed out, not paying any attention. So I was like trying to wake him up so he could see Santa at the end. And I was like, oh my God, look, it's Santa. No, he didn't call him Santa. He called him Wiggle, like wiggle. And he's like, Wiggle! Wiggle!
There you go.
Yeah, because he thought he was the guy from the movie, from the Wiggles. He's like, oh, there's that guy. I know him. So that was probably my cutest little. When he was tiny. Yeah. I know, so cute. Our other really funny Santa story was we saw Santa driving one time when my son was little, and once again, he didn't speak for a long time. He spoke like in his own little gibberish language. So he like saw the Santa driving in a white car, and I was like, "Oh yeah, hey Santa! Oh look!" And we were so excited. So then that Christmas, go to bed, everything. Next morning, all the presents are there. And he's like, white car. So he ran out the front door looking for Santa's white car. He's like, where is it? And we're like, oh my God, dying laughing because that he is supposed to. They're like, oh, Santa drove his white car to drop off these presents. And yeah.
That's so
silly
funny.
little kids. Yeah. I know.
Were your kids scared of Santa, like when they were really little? Like I know there's some kids that just like they're so scared. They think it's so scary.
Yeah. One, I think it was my middle one, had wanted nothing to do with him. Like he was like, no, not even gonna try this. The older one was like, okay, no, this guy's cool. We got it. We're fine. But the middle one was like, no, this is not happening. We definitely have some of those like screaming face pictures when we sit him beside him and.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Those are classics. Those are like my favorite though. Those are better than like smiling. I don't want smiling pictures. I want the crying, freaking out, terrified.
Real stuff for sure.
Yeah. So it's crazy how kids either love Santa or they're just like, nope, I don't trust it. And I'm like, where are you getting this from?
It's like one or the other.
Yeah, I know.
But I find when they're first born, and if you get them to sit with Santa when they're first born, like nothing really happens. It's just very silent because they don't really understand what's happening. But then they get to like 1 and stuff, and then they're like, like oh, it totally changes.
My favorite is when they're good, and then they're all of a sudden they're like terrible.
Yes. Oh yes, that's the most entertaining for sure.
Yeah.
for sure. Well, do you know when the parade actually started? The first year that we had it in Toronto. I am just so with the details today. Oh my goodness! I'm even going to get my glasses so I can read it. All right. So, first of all, does anybody know when it started? Like when we first had the parade? It was okay. So, in 1905 was actually the first Toronto parade. Isn't that
What?
1905.
So long. Okay.
And they've been having it for 118 years uninterrupted. That's so crazy.
I was going to say I thought it was past 100. So yeah, that's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Uninterrupted too. That's insane.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's crazy. But I haven't been to that parade in a really long time. I think the last time I went to the parade, I was maybe in my late 20s or something. Okay, I'm telling everybody my age, but which I'm already in, still in. I mean, no, it was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Okay, so I have another question for you guys.
Yes.
Recently, the actress Candace Cameron. Now, are we familiar with her? Candace Cameron Bure, her name is. Who we all know as DJ from Full House and also from Fuller House and from a ton of Hallmark movies. She just moved over from the Hallmark Network to Great American Family Network because she doesn't want her Christmas movies to feature LGBTQ love stories. This is what she's saying. What are your guys' thoughts about this? Do you think that that she's kind of, has a right to say that? What is your opinion?
Wow, that's rough. Like, holy.
Yeah.
Like, is she not canceled? I'm surprised she's not canceled.
Yeah, she just moved over to this new network because she wants to stay with Hallmark. So I guess she's saying, listen, I don't want to have these LGBTQ love stories in this new stuff. And she's getting a lot of flack for it, which I understand. Did you guys hear about this at all? Or
no? Did she explain her reasoning as to why she didn't want it?
She just said she wants to keep the classic sort of Christian values of, Christian marriage values in the shows. But I mean, she did it for so many years with Hallmark. It's just funny that she would just now decide this. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
That is so crazy because I'm just like, what does it even matter? Like,
yeah, I mean, there's room for all those stories, really, if you think about it. Especially the amount of.
I kind of love all the news stories that are different twists on like Christmas stories. I think it's so much fun to have something that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. Oh, that story, that character, that I love it because we've all seen the same one a billion times. So why not? Why not switch it up?
And why not have something that everyone can relate to at least, right? I mean, there's enough out there for everyone to have something, right? So I don't know why we should limit it. But I was very surprised that she said that. It really threw me off. I was like, what? Are you serious? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Were you guys ever a fan of her shows? Like, did you ever watch Full House, the original Full House that she was on? Like DJ?
Yeah. I did watch the original Full House. I think I knew one episode of Fuller House, but I didn't even know she did all the Hallmark. I wonder if it's just because it's restricted to American television or whatnot, but it's just like, this is damn.
Yeah.
Really good. What's really going on with her?
Courtney, it looked like you said you were a fan, of the Full House,
the
original one?
I've seen all the Full House. I've seen all the Fuller House. My oldest son started watching it all, so I watched them with him. And I've probably seen quite a few of those Hallmark movies as well.
Yeah, I think I have too. Yeah, to be honest with you. I was actually a really big fan of her when I was younger, and she came to a mall that was about an hour away from where I was from originally, and she was signing autographs, so we went, and I just remember it was so crowded, and we got trampled on because we didn't get to her in time. But that's one of my memories of that time of my life because I was really into it at the time. So you did watch it, I guess, and you've watched the Fuller House episodes as well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What do you think of the Fuller House episodes? Do you like them? What do you think?
I mean, they're cheesy, but that's what they're supposed to be. There's cute little storylines, funny things. I love seeing the old characters come back so sad that Bob Saget is no longer with us, though, right? Like, because he was such a huge part of it. But we like them. They're cute. They're funny.
I do. They kind of with you a little. They're fun. Really the original Full House, and I try to explain. Okay, well, there used to be one, and we tried watching it, but she just didn't get it. She's just into the new one, and that's it. Yeah. She's like, "What are you talking about, Mommy? Oh my gosh, this is old." Whatever.
That is crazy.
So, yeah. So with Christmas coming up and everything, ladies, what would be something that you would like to have as a Christmas gift? What would be the best gift to give you at Christmas?
I keep thinking like impractical, like get me tickets to some hot island for like 2 weeks. Just get me that gift. But like something practical that I would use, I feel like, like a coupon for a spa or something.
Yeah. Courtney. I know I heard crackling there. I said, what's going on? I think you were mentioning that before, Giselle, weren't you? That you wanted to go. Yeah, that's a great gift. That'd be a great one.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if like a really good recipe for something. Like something I've never heard before, but like here's like my Nana's old recipe for this dish, and I'm like, yes, I will definitely try that. Thank you.
Oh, that's really cool. Hey, I can make some recipes, and then you can make it for me. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
I'll just come to your house and have dinner there.
Let's do it. All the food and all the wine. I'm in.
All right, that's good.
What about your gift?
I haven't really thought about it, to be really honest with you, but I think just my daughter just having a great Christmas. I think that'll be a great present for me. And also, you could get me a luxury Chanel bag too. One of those two. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. This is kind of funny. I've actually been teased a lot about this, about my caroling, because year which I've said I've gone caroling in the past, and they like totally make fun of me because I carol. So it's an ongoing joke. But is that something you've ever done? Have you ever gone caroling ever?
I've never gone caroling. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was just something people did in movies. I didn't think it was a real thing. I'm like, they must have made this up for some movie, and then everybody just kind of ran with it. But like the idea of just caroling to people, like that would be kind of pretty cool. I'm like, I would definitely be going to like some famous house, being like, yo, let me carol. I'm cold. Let me come in. Is there a party going on? Yo, there you go. Like one of those,
like a celebrity's house or something at the front. And you're just like, hey, what's up? Let us in. Yeah. Well, we used to do it actually in my original town, Nova Scotia, in Nova Scotia, Wolfville, and that's where we would do all of our caroling. And so it's something we would do every year, and it was like being a Hallmark movie. It was kind of the thing, And then coming here and telling people about it, we're like, "What? You're going caroling? Like, how? What is? That's weird, And so I get teased about it a lot. But I did do it one time when I was here.
Oh yeah, how was that? I was gonna say, like, what was it like doing it in Toronto? Because I know how Toronto people say. Well, do they really like it, or they're like, get off my property, and it's like, okay.
It's like not something you would normally talk about here in the city. But the one time I did go caroling here, and it was my mom. I was for my mom, because my mom is a part of a church. And so her church was going around to a bunch of people that kind of were sick or had problems with going on during the Christmas season. And part of our thing was to go and sing carols at these people's doors. And so I was kind of thinking, well, I haven't done it here. I don't know, like that's going to be different, right? But we did end up doing it, and it was actually really nice because the people, when we went to their doors, they're really nice and inviting and stuff like that. But it wasn't one of those things where we went caroling randomly, like downtown for strangers. It was, we knew how we were going, and we knew these people needed some cheering up and that kind of thing. But if you do it just randomly, like I don't know how that would go over. That would be really strange.
Like I've seen them in like, and this is again, like I think I remember seeing it like in a mall, like at Eaton's Mall, like just like I want to say like 8 people getting together. They would just walk around the mall and just start caroling or something, or like around outside the mall. And like I couldn't figure out if it was like, let's get festive, part of the mall thing we contracted to just get festive, or if it was really people just walking around downtown Toronto singing. Because I'm like, what is happening? It's really cold outside. This is Toronto. We're in the negatives now.
Yeah. Oh, there she is. Hey.
Oh, hello. Look who's back.
Oh, we missed you, Courtney.
Back.
Aw. We were just
difficulties.
Well, we were just talking about caroling, actually. I know it's kind of not really a common thing, but we were asking, have you ever gone caroling? I have a feeling you have, Courtney. I just have this feeling. I don't know.
I might have done it. Me and a friend of mine were like, some money, let's go around. And so I totally, like, me and this girlfriend, we're singing around everybody what I was doing. So we donated the money. Like, we think in our little heads, we thought we're like, we're going to sing, but people assume you're doing it for. But I heard you guys talking about it. I think this should be something that everyone love to do that. That would be so much fun.
Oh my God. Okay. Wouldn't that be funny if we got like the Firedup Network girls to go caroling? That would be hilarious. That would be so funny. Oh my
I would
God.
say that would be a good
just sounds like
TikTok. You could just like actions, like when you're like, hey, with boughs of holly, la 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 la.
Yeah,
I'd totally be down to do that. Just randomly find an FEM man downtown, request a song, just like all his random videos.
Do it, just break out in song, just like, it'll be the new thing, the new craze.
Bad Moms Christmas, like full costumes. So I feel like we would need to our level of our caroling. It's got to be bling, like little,
the Bad Moms caroling. That'll be us, right? There we go. Yeah.
That would be cool. That'd be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
I say we should do it.
I say too. So get your caroling book out, ladies, because we're going caroling this year.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I didn't get to ask you, Courtney. So what is something that you would like to have for Christmas? What would be like the greatest gift that you could have this year for Christmas?
It's a toughie. Yeah, there's nothing that I'm like eating this year. A cute little like scarf with the logo on it, and I was like, you guys can get me that, and like, while you can figure it out, or no, who knows if that's gonna happen. I think I told you like before though, I'm going away and like my gift for sure.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
Nice.
City. Yeah.
Yes,
very cool.
It's gonna be so great.
Oh, I can't wait to hear all the stories when you get back.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. That's so fun.
So I know Corey's gonna have a random story, at least one.
Yeah.
At least one.
At least one random story.
Yeah. Like, I don't think the caroling story will be the only one. Let's just put it that way. You're gonna have a lot to add to that.
No. Sure. I'm sure I will get a number of ladies.
Definitely. Very cool. And so when did you say that you're going? What?
We go end of February.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And did you find it was hard to get ready and stuff? Like, is it harder now? Like, did you find COVID got in the way at all, or was it okay?
So doing like the passport tracking, because there's like no guarantee to kind of show up, and they're like, yeah, you may or may. So I'm actually still fingers crossed on that. Just like the way everything sort of works right now, more so than anything else, they almost want you to wait because they can't process every other time yet. So
still a bit of a wait, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still not 100%. So we'll see. So hopefully that comes out. The only other know if I get the other, like their second doses, because and from now to then, and what the rules.
True. Very, very true. Very true.
I think it'll all work out.
Yeah, I think it will too.
Mm-hmm.
It will. You'll have lots of stories for us. I know. We're going to ask you all about it.
It's gonna be like, ooh, let me get my wine. So I need to be ready for this.
Margarita, I'll still be on vacation mode.
That's like,
Oh,
if you were going during the Christmas season, Giselle and I would go there and we'd carol while you were getting on the plane. We'd just be like, embarrass the crap out of you. Giselle, can you imagine?
it'd be a little bit. I'll just be there awkwardly off key in the background, really loud. And you're like, oh my god, I don't know these people.
Follow you. Like as you're walking closer and closer to your gate, we'll just like keep shifting. No, wait, we have one more.
One more. I love it. Right?
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Well, I'm glad that you're going away. I hope you can try to pack us. That would be lots of fun too. Put us in your suitcase. Yeah.
I know. And on location, is what we need to look into.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be very cool.
That'd be really cool.
Right?
Very, very cool. Yeah. Or if you get really big suitcases for Christmas, you can just pack me and Giselle. So that is what you can ask for Christmas. Really, really big suitcases. There you go. Perfect.
I like that.
Nice, ladies. I see you ladies every week, and I missed you, and I'm glad I got to send. And I always look forward to talking to you guys. So can you let everyone know where we can find you on social media before we go?
You can find me on Instagram at giselle.lou. Drop a comment.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Mama, or you can hop on my website.
Perfect. And of course, my name is Shauna Brown. You can find me on Instagram at Shauna Brown Music 111. Also, my website, shaunamusic.com, and Shauna Brown on all the other sites. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching The Blaze with my favorite ladies. Bye.
That is The Blaze, the women of the Fired Up Network, female empowerment movement. Join the movement at Join FE Movement on social media. Check it out each and every week here on the Fired Up Network. We have the ladies with The Blaze. As mentioned, you saw him before, Mark Swilinski. He's back now. He was in Saskatchewan for the 109th Grey Cup between the Argos and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Argos celebrating the Grey Cup. They had the parade yesterday at Maple Leaf Square just before the horrible news of Boyers coming. Here's Mark Swilinski talking about Hey everybody, this is Joseph Hasek and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to a special Friday night edition of the flagship show Fired Up Live here on Fired Up Network. We're back. Mark Swilinski's back. He was talking about Boyer Salming. A little bit more fun topic here. You were at the Grey Cup. You were at the Grey Cup in Saskatchewan. First question, how cold was it?
Joey, when I landed there the Tuesday before the Cup, it was minus 21 or 22 Fahrenheit, which is about as cold as you're going to get. It got up to 0 the next couple of days Fahrenheit. Then on game day, it was a very pleasant +1 with no wind and a beautiful sun. And they flew some jets by overhead, and that was really cool. Had some good entertainment. But yeah, that Tuesday to the Thursday was an eye-opening chill. I hate to sound like a typical Torontonian because we moan a lot about the weather and the cold. And then something even more cliche and typical is like saying, well, we don't, when you go out west to the prairies and to the Rockies and that's a real Canadian winter, as it would be in the Maritimes. And you don't like to say that or you don't like to show or talk about the weather, but boy, oh boy, when you first experience it, and I was dressed warm, as was everybody, but you still, you have to have face protection, not just a hat or a toque or something. You got to protect your hands and your shoes, your feet, pardon me. But you have to wear something over your mouth and cover as much as your face as you can, because it is that cold, and your extremities were, like points on your face, your ears, your fingers, your toes, they will freeze. You will get so cold it'll be uncomfortable. So it can be cold, and then you tip your hat to the football players who are out there in their short sleeves because they're going to defy it, and that's part of the tradition of the CFL. So it was cold. The players had an option to go indoors on for a Wednesday and a Friday practice. That indoor practice was up in Moose Jaw, about an hour away from Regina, and both teams refused to do it. They just said, "It's cold. It's cold. Well, it's not cold enough." So they wanted to put that out there, and they, tip of the hat to them because they were defiant, and it was part of a really, really cool week in Regina.
All right, that was the 109th edition. You were around for all of them. Saskatchewan did a great job there, right? And a great game. They're saying an instant classic. Here, July 4th, Winnipeg came to BMO Field and beat the Argos 23-22. Now, a few months later, the Grey Cup, Argos returned the favor there. What a great game. And you want to talk about the MVP, the Canadian. What a great game for that. And then we'll talk about my good, close personal friend, Jim Kelly's nephew, coming off the bench. And Jim Kelly going to 4 straight only I can say it because I'm a Buffalo Bill fan. Going to straight 4 Super Bowls, losing. And his nephew coming off the bench, playing like 30 minutes in Canadian football and has a championship ring. Jim Kelly, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you mentioned our Canadian P, Enoch Mwamba. Couldn't happen to a nicer person. He really did have a terrific game, and his big thing was to be in the right place at the right time. The Winnipeg offense, like the Argos defense, likes to throw deception in their packages that they show each other. Bring safeties in, rush linebackers, then back off, or have movement and things like that. Enoch had his hands full, and Winnipeg has a very talented and varied offense. Plus, I think they have Collaros at quarterback, but Collaros did not have a great game, and it wasn't primarily because everybody was talking about his hurt ankle. It was because of the job that the middle of Argos defense did, specifically Mwamba, but Sean Oakman, a couple of the other down linemen were just think for a minute. How many sacks did they get? How many times did they get to Collaros with a sack? I think it was 5.
Yes.
And every single one of them was a monster hit, like a bulldozer hit. And that literally took the wind out of Winnipeg's sails. They had really one great offensive moment, and it was on a run back, not from anything from their offense. Yeah. That's the kind of job that Mwamba and that defense did. It was spectacular. They were confident they could do it. They were very confident that they could. They had watched, the film and learned from their loss, which they felt back in July that they should have beat Winnipeg then. They did a great job. There was great coaching going on there. They had the whole package down pat, and it came out in the score.
Now, let's look at the Argos. A lot of people didn't give them a chance, right? And you were there all week, like you mentioned. Before the game, team like all the other teams talk crap. The Argos came and, like they always say, a business trip. They took care of business.
Yes. Well, talked to a couple of players before the week before, and after the East Final. McLeod, who else? I think Speedy and a couple of them said that we have the most talented team. We believe we're the best team in the CFL. And spoke to Robbie Davis today at the celebration down in Maple Leaf Square. He said they believed that last year. And it took them, a long time to come together as a team. And we are all aware of, how they fought on the sidelines and how they were a little disjointed emotionally. They came together, but that's pretty much outside the fact that they came together. It took a long time, and that is something that's difficult to do. When you got a lot of talented people, you got a lot of big egos, right? But outside that fact, they had the talent. They were pound for pound, especially in defense, a better team. We all thought there was going to be a big battle, between the offensive lines, because Winnipeg's offensive line is the gold standard in the CFL, has been for, they have you want to look at consistently great offensive lines for 10, 15, 20 years now. The first team you're going to look at is the Blue Bombers, because they had the best one, and they still do. However, they did lose the battle against the Argos defense, not dramatically, but the Argos offensive line also had a great day, and they really started believing, even after that 100-yard punt return or whatever it was, which set a CFL record. They said, brushed it off. Let's go. We're still the better team. So, and they talked about that, and they had a speech. Andrew Harris talked to them on the bench. Andrew Harris talked to them after the first quarter and after the second quarter, or during the second quarter on the bench of the East Final, and said the same thing. We're the best white. We carry this forward, and we're going to go all the way. So that's what they had this year compared to last year. And summing up what we're talking about here, they had Andrew Harris, they had Speedy Banks. And of course, McLeod has that pedigree too of being a leader. But Andrew Harris, everybody listened to him about sticking to the details, doing your job, the same things we hear all the time. But he brought the championship experience. They listened to him. And when you listen to advice like that and you stick to it and you have the talent they have, it shows up on the scoreboard.
A little birdie named A, let's put it that way, told me Andrew Harris is going to retire. Did you hear the same thing, and what do you think?
Yes, we're all talking about it because, there's a lot of talk about it. We all hear the same things. And, not only that, but Mac might retire. It's for family reasons. As we know, Andrew I don't even think his newborn is 2 weeks old now.
Yeah.
And they brought the newborn out to Regina. That's something that I noticed and felt I was admiring today at the reception, is that Enoch, a couple of the other players, when they got to the microphone, they had a great time. They're rallying the crowd, but they also stopped to single out their families, their wives and their children, how much they're away from them, how much good fortune they have in that they get to do what they do while their wife is back home, taking care of everything, and how difficult that is. And, acknowledging that in public is a big thing. So Andrew has got a family, he's got a newborn. How old is he now? 34, 35? I think he's 34. 3 cups in a row. I mean, on the one hand, why not come back and make it 4? Like when you've got what he has, the talent and the drive and the leadership, use it, right? Get the maximum out of it. At the same time, for all the reasons we're talking about, specifically family, what more does he have to prove? Exactly. I think the biggest thing he has to prove over the rest of his life, that he's a good father. He's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's a Hall of Fame football player. So there are those arguments, and they're both valid. But I do believe one's more valid than the other, and that's the family one. And I think we shouldn't be surprised if he actually does call it quits. But it's not something that's going to, it could happen, and he could announce at any time. But I don't think it's going to happen until he has a lot of time to think about it, because you are giving up a lot, but you're giving up, for a lot too. So career, family, what weighs more, that's up to him.
And again, my source, I'm just going to say A, has told me he's going to make the decision after the holidays, and first holiday with a newborn and all that, he's leaning towards, retirement. And kudos to him, because like you said, when you are a father, it changes you. It changes you a lot. So you mentioned you were at the parade there, okay? The parade, I'm going to ask you this, not to badmouth the Argos. First of all, you mentioned that they thanked their wives and kids. Kudos to Pinball, who came out of anywhere and said, you know, we always thank Larry. We're talking about Larry Tannenbaum. We will never say anything about his wife, Judy. She's always in the background, and he started a chant, Judy, Judy, Judy. I should have started a chant, Marky and Joey and stuff like that. Next pinball, I'm gonna lay the smackdown. Never mind. All right. So like, look, but take us through the parade. When you have a parade, usually when the Argos win, TFC wins, Blue Jays win, Raptors win. I don't have to say about Maple Leafs, but they have it at City Hall. Today or yesterday, the parade was at Maple Leaf Square. Now, did they know that they're not going to get a big crowd? That's why they didn't do it at City Hall, or because I don't know. I was thinking, I don't know, maybe ask you what was the crowd. I would say, before going in, I think he would have been happy or should have been happy with 500, considering the Pogo played, consider Brazil played, considering it's Thursday, you know, a Thanksgiving Thursday with 3 football games. Number one, Buffalo, Detroit, which is basically in Toronto, Buffalo's one of your favorite teams. So, what was the crowd? What was the atmosphere? And did they give you a reason why this wasn't at City Hall?
The crowd, I called it somewhere near 1,000, which was being unfortunately generous. It did. I got there early off the GO train, thinking that I better get there because I mean I have a spot if I get there too late. And it was an eye opener to see the crowd and to see that it, you know, like about. They waited almost 45 minutes to start the thing from noon hour. They pushed it to near 1 o'clock before they started, you know, firing up the speeches and all that and introducing the team. It had grown, you know, considerably from what it was even a half an hour before that, or 15 minutes. But it's still, you know, it's for me, it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about because you know, we can all say it's a reflection of this or a reflection of that. It's not a reflection of the team or what they accomplished. It's just a reflection of how significant Major League sports are in this city and in all markets when you have competing things like the World Cup and NFL, and then Boreas passing. I mean, you're up against it. You're up against a very tough position to be in to draw people to come down, and there was problems with the subway there yesterday, so that you know, when I got off the GO train and walked through from, you know, towards Scotiabank Arena to get out the exits to go to Maple Leaf Square, I noticed it was, for that time of day at 9:30, 10 in the morning, it was quieter because of, I guess because there was, you know, GO train trouble. Nonetheless, all these factors come into play. The crowd, you know, like I said, when the story I wrote, I said it was somewhere around 1,000, and I had, it's difficult, and you should be able to tell a crowd that, you know, of that size. You can almost count and, you know, do a physical count very quickly. I felt that it was somewhere in that range, might even been higher. I'm not a good guess of that. I asked the police, and they shrugged their shoulders. Police, it was usually when we're doing this type of situation, they'll either get a report on the crowd or they're very good at guessing a crowd size. They just shrug their shoulders. Nonetheless, the crowd was excellent. They were very supportive, and it felt like family. And, you know, it was a terrific experience. Was at, you know, the 2012 win for the 100th anniversary. It was at the 2017 win, and they did have a parade, and they did shunt it through City Hall, and they probably had anywhere from 500 to 7,500 people. It was much bigger. Did they purposely put it in Maple Leaf Square to, you know, because they weren't going to do a parade, you know, just perhaps because it just wasn't necessary? I think you could come to that conclusion. There was no official word on it. I think also that there was so much construction around the Air Canada, the Scotiabank Arena, and that, you know, it would be hard to plan a parade route. I also think that, regardless of that they also had to get players home. So they wanted to make this a much quicker celebration. And just, the players have been going at it pretty hard and deservedly so, partying. And, it's time to get back to the families. Players had flights to catch. And they did a lot. They had a lot of fun in the last couple of days. But, so they just wanted to get this thing in, get it in a contained, pay their respects, have their fun, show Toronto the cup, and get on, get it done, get it wrapped up, and let's get into the off season and get back to their families and to something they deserve. So I think that's all wrapped into the reason why they did it that way at Maple Leaf Square. But I thought it worked well, regardless of whatever you want importance or significance you want to put on the size. I worked well. I think they did a great job with it, and I personally had fun at it and enjoyed it, and I thought it was well done.
You had fun because you took place there. By the way, your position, you took my position. That was a good position I gave you, right? That was a great position I gave you. Let's be honest.
Only you could have one like that.
All right, but my question is, you have a little bit of the. Did you have?
Did not, Joey. I purposely stayed a little proper distancing from the bubbly.
All right.
I've been Blue Jays. I've been in Blue Jays celebrations for that. And if you do not, there's a reason they wear the ski goggles, because as most of us know, if you've ever got that the bubbly in your eye, it's not exactly pleasurable.
All right. Again, Mark Zielinski, tell everybody about that world famous book. It's the Christmas season. I urge everybody. We talked about a championship. Well, you want to read a championship book, even though the name now is Norma. I have a little bit of whatever, but a great book. Check it out. Purchase it. You won't go wrong there. A great stocking stuffer. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, thank you again, Joey, for giving me that opportunity, and it's always appreciated. The book is called Norma. It is a book about the character, an elderly woman named Norma, who is very kind, also very, very intelligent, reads a lot, is a poet, has a lot of wit, smarts. She lives in a small town, and finds, after a life of being shy and conscious about her own weight and here, she comes out of her shell with the help of local teenagers who love her for what she is, because she helps them with their homework and things like that. And ultimately, as the book moves along, she's fired out of a job, has no money, becomes a street person, then gets embroiled in some corruption in the small town between gangs and the local police force. Because of that, she gets brutalized and nearly killed, but is able to repair herself and the town through her character pillars, which is kindness and wit. And it really comes together beautifully in the end, because she does save the town and save herself. It's a good, strong message at the end. And it's a story really about a real life angel. And it isn't that this angel has powers and superpowers or anything like in a big movie or on TV. It's honesty, kindness, and friends that save the day. And that's what this book's message is in the end, is just how important kindness is in our life. And it's first stab I've taken at a novel, and I'm quite proud of it, and happy to have it out, and really appreciate helping me speak about it. And to your listener, I just think it's a really good book, and something that is easy to read and fun to read, and would be valuable as well.
Yeah, and like I said, a great stocking stuffer. Yeah, and it's a great read. That's Mark Zielinski of the Toronto Star. Mark, now we're going off air, so past the eggnog, we'll have the little bit of the bubbly. All right, Mark?
Sounds good, Doug.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thank you, and as always, thanks for having me. And I want to wish the Merry Christmas, fantastic, safe, and healthy holidays for you, family, and your listeners, and it's always a pleasure being here.
Same to you, Mark. One of the best. That's Mark Solinsky of the Toronto Star. If I don't talk to you, have a safe, happy holiday season and get my present, all right?
You got it, brother.
That's Mark Solinsky. Double action for Mark today, reminiscing about Borja Salming. And he was at the Grey Cup, and we talked about the Grey Cup, which was won, of course, by the Argos. The Argos had the Grey Cup parade yesterday. Just a side note here, Fired Up Network's own Eric Grossman, Media Relations Director for Fired Up Network, mentioned that, the last Maple Leaf home game, it was on November 21st, 21. And, that was Borja Salming's number. The last home game was 11-21 from the Maple Leafs. Unfortunately, they lost it, but just can't forget that also. So just a side note here, we're going to debut a new show from Derek Bowles. Yes, Derek Bowles. If you haven't heard of him, you'll hear of him right now. Derek is a great, great addition to the Fired Up Network family, and expect big, big, big interviews, big guests with Derek Bowles in the next little while here. Of course, his new show, Untouchables. Derek will tell you about his journey, where he began, where he's now, and you gotta check this out. Again, Derek Bowles.
Hi, my name is Derek Bowles. As a Bowles. I have a powerful story I'd like to share with you guys today. And I think it will provide some hope, provide inspiration, provide you an opportunity really to evaluate yourself and your mindset and how you're overcoming your own personal challenges. And I just want to kind of give you a little history on me and a little bit of background. I'm originally from Michigan. I'm a former athlete, played basketball in the Pacific Northwest, spent time in Taiwan, Taipei, Japan, and I spent 5 years in Australia playing basketball, and got a chance to come back to the United States right when 9/11 happened, which was a pretty big deal for me because I retired from being an athlete and became a coach. Ended up coaching at a junior college for 5 seasons, had a great career as a coach, transitioned to the NBA D League, won a championship with the Idaho Stampede. And now I want to tell you a little bit about what has happened since. And it's powerful because, we live in such a crazy time that we really don't know what's going to happen with our journey, with our lives and our vision and our purpose. And so we kind of get distracted or being challenged with your health. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history so you can get a better feel. And then we can have a serious conversation. When I first started speaking, I started speaking all over the world and was doing very well. And I didn't realize it, but my body was exhausted. It was tired. And when I say it was tired, meaning I didn't know that I had so many things that was wrong with me. When you're a former athlete, you don't put it in those contexts. You just think you just need to take a break and rest. You need to take a nap, or you need to just get more time with yourself. But you don't realize sometimes you have things that's happening to you internally that you don't even know. And so I'm going to talk to you guys about a number of things today. But first, I'm going to give you some history. So when I first started to get sick, I had a brain aneurysm. Then I had 2 strokes. Then I had a defibrillator put into my chest. It's still in there right now. You see where I'm rubbing. And then I had a blood disease called cellulitis, which can get into your bloodstream, and unfortunately, it can take you out. I felt like I was coming out of that, but then I found out that I had atrial fibrillation in my heart. So I'm a heart surgery survivor, which says a lot. Was able to overcome those challenges. And my body was so exhausted because of me being a former athlete that I had hurt my back. So they really took out my L1 and my L5 in my back, which was pretty powerful. And then the last thing is I had blood clots going through my body, all through my body, which if you know anything about blood clots, if they get into your heart or if they get into your brain, it can impact you really for as long as you stay alive. And then the last thing that I faced, which I think is interesting because we came out of it, was during the pandemic, I got clean. So I had everything I just listed to you, which was powerful. And then I capped it off with COVID-19. I want you to think about that for a second. That's a big deal, man. You know, especially when you are a person who has been blessed in multiple facets of your life, been a former athlete, first generation, college student, undergrad, human services, psychology, MBA, human resource management. Like God's given me so many gifts, and I always want to make sure I honor God when I'm talking and provide a message to our community. So there's a few things I want to share with you today, which I think are invaluable. Probably the most important thing that I'm going to talk to you about. And the first thing I want to talk about is, you know, I developed a new logo. My logo used to be Bose Academy, and it was exciting because I felt like I was improving our community, providing insight, providing ideas, providing challenges. But after everything that I faced, I kind of changed my style and my brand to, and I'm gonna bring it up so you can see it. Move it over so you can get a better feel, to Unstoppable. And if I bring it in, you can see there's a number of things on there that I like, and I'm gonna talk about them. One of them is wisdom, strength, peace, and love. And those are the things that I want to talk to you guys about. Because for me, as I continue to mature and get older and have insight on how our world works, and, you know, even at age 50, you think you have all the answers and all the solutions, but you really don't. And sometimes we lie to ourselves and say that we do, but unfortunately we don't. So I want to talk to you about one of the first things that pops into my mind that really has helped me navigate my life, my journey to this point at age 50. The word wisdom pops into my mind. And as you know, if you know anything about wisdom, wisdom is super important. You know, back in one of my favorite books that I love to refer to, the Bible, Solomon was one of the wisest men of all time. He had so many things that he was able to foresee, consult on, provide insight on, but he had an issue. And his issue was he loved women, and that's a problem. But at the end of the day, his wisdom was what made him one of the top people back in those days. And so, you know, when we think about some of the things that we are faced with right now, especially in our current environment, our current challenges, our current, we're talking about going to war and people being hungry and homeless. And there's so many things that pop up. And we have to have those who are empowered, those who are leading the charge, to have wisdom and be able to be smart with their wisdom and be able to be servants with their wisdom. And so, the other thing that I think people don't understand is like when you are wise and you have things that you want to share and influence and impart, you have to make sure that you are educated on every piece of that puzzle. You got to make sure that you understand all sides of everyone's perspective, and then you have to be willing to make that decision. The other thing that I think is super important is strength. So I talked about wisdom. Now I'm going to talk about strength. And when you think about strength, people don't realize, and I say this is one of the reasons why I was able to recover from everything that I listed when we started. You have to have first the will to survive and move forward. Sometimes we give up when things don't look good, or when we have challenges, or when the world isn't fair and poor me and how can I respond. But at the end of the day, if you have strength and if you have the ability to understand how to leverage your mind and how to leverage your thoughts and how to leverage your faith, that's a big deal. But nobody wants to talk about it because we live in a time where, well, you already know, you can't talk about faith. You can't talk about the power of our minds. And we really can't talk about our personal will because that means that we're being selfish. But I'm going to tell you right now, we all have been given gifts. All of us have. Everybody's been given something that they can use to move forward. And then here's the thing that I think is super important: to contribute to our society. And I think sometimes we forget it's not about anything other than how can we serve? How can we be a servant to help those who we work with, live with, employers, people that we influence, our children, our family, our community? It's a pretty big deal. But nobody wants to talk about that because here's the crazy thing: we're too afraid. What are we afraid of? When we say we're afraid of ideas that have no validity, but sometimes we create our own narrative and then we're afraid because we don't want to be judged. Well, why would you be afraid to be judged? That's just part of being a person that can have influence, and goes back to that last point I just said: wisdom and strength. And so I'll share a little bit of insight for you that I do every day, and I have been doing it, and it's making a huge difference. I meditate. And people don't understand, we only use 10% of our brain. All right, now let's put this into context. If we only use 10% of our brain and we think that we have all the answers and we let our egos get in the way and we try to be right because of how we were raised and, what church we went to and social classes and race and all those things, right? But the truth is willing to tap into stuff that's happening right now, current time, real time. And that requires us to be attuned with people, relationships, our environment, and meditation is one of the best ways to tap into that. And I say that because we sometimes don't think that we have, that next level of thinking, that next level of gifts, but we do. And I'm going to go back. We use 10% of our brain. So, one of the things that I think we get confused on is there's so much external noise. 1927, that was the first time we developed a television. So you add in, I'm being real, and even though I'm creating this show using technology, we created something that became a distraction, a television. And now we have cell phones. And now we have access to all type of information. And we have all these things. And instead of really meditating and tapping into our own gifts and thinking about what we can bring to the table, we're constantly getting entertained by stuff that we watch. And that's me being very real with you. But I'm telling you the truth because I've lived it. I've seen it. I've watched it with my own children. And so I say this, and really a chance to get you guys to understand we need to start thinking about meditating. And so there's two things I want to share as I continue to talk about the power of meditating. As I stroke, and I remember going to speech therapy, and my doctor told me, because I couldn't speak, and if you look at my face, you don't see any signs of a stroke. You really don't see, you don't even know that I had 2 strokes, but I did. And I say that for two reasons. One, my doctor told me that you should go on disability. You will never work again. You will never do anything again. And the next thing she said was, you're already struggling for your words to come out of your mouth. Now, I don't know if it was my spirit. I don't know if it was my will. I don't know what it was, but that really challenged me because that means that you're saying that my life was getting ready to be finished. I mean, I would never work again. I would never have fun. I would never bring anything to the table. And I thought to myself, not only do I disagree, but I'm going to show you. I'm getting ready to show you. And so I started to do speech therapy 2 to 3 times a day. I was focusing on making sure that my words made sense, making sure that I was communicating at a high level. I knew I had the content in my mind, but I didn't know if it was coming out through my mouth correctly. And those are super important, right? If you're saying something and nobody understands it, it doesn't mean that you're saying anything. But if you're saying it and people understand what you're saying, that means that not only can you think it, but now you can communicate it at a high level. And so I worked, and I continued to work to the point where I got my first speaking engagement at Miracle Ear. And they flew me to Vegas. I stayed in a hotel and got a standing ovation after having 2 strokes. I'm telling you right now. So people always say, well, that was special. That was this, that was that. Was it? So are you saying that the stuff that happened to me was just me, that is not available to you? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because I don't believe that. I believe that anything that I have access to, you have access to too. And so that story gives you a idea of being able really to control what happens, not only when you have health challenges, but mentally, emotionally, and your spirit so that you can continue to move forward. And so I share that because I think that type of stuff is super, super important. Like probably the most important thing that I've shared with you so far. The next thing that I think is important is you know, when you go through challenges like having your L1 and your L5 in your back taken out because of the pain and the nerve pain that it's providing to your leg because it's too much, and you've been to the emergency room multiple times and you're so exhausted, you still have to, and nobody wants to say this, you still have to look in the mirror to make the decision, is this how you're going to move forward, or is there something else that you could be doing to help your situation? And I remember, and I'll share this because I think it's important. This was after I had my back surgery. And I remember I was supposed to have a 2-day back surgery. Okay, I want you to stay with me. 2 days. That's what it was supposed to be. 2 days. And so I get in. They go into my back. They give me the shot. Give me, I'm laying in the bed. I think I'm about to get out in 2 days. And I was taking a blood thinner, which Xarelto was the name of the blood thinner I was taking. And I ended up staying in the hospital for 2 weeks because I could not stop bleeding. I want you to think about what I'm sharing with you right now. That's a long time. And so when you're in the hospital for 2 weeks, you're pretty much laying in the bed because you really can't do anything because your body is in so much pain. And you're just laying in there. And do you know the type of emotional challenges that you go through when you're in that position? I always talk about this because I think it's important. And I think those of you who listen to what I'm getting ready to share, it's powerful. So I really wasn't having a lot of people come visit me because it was during the COVID-19 time. So you couldn't just go to the hospital and hang out and spend time and do all those things. And they had limited hours. So you couldn't just show up. It wasn't just like a normal place to come visit and support people. And so I was in there by myself. And when I say I was in there by myself, the only people who came in the room were people really to take your blood, which is funny because they want some from you, or to just make sure that you're doing okay. But it wasn't anything. There was no love in the room. It was people just doing their job. And I remember laying in the bed, and I remember getting extremely, extremely depressed. And I say depressed like I couldn't believe that I had the back surgery and that I was still, laying in the bed. And then they said, until I stopped bleeding, I wasn't going to get out of the hospital. So I want you to put all that into context. And I got so depressed, and I started questioning, why was I going through this? And I started questioning, what was happening and how was I going to respond? And this was the first time that I had suicidal ideation. It was the first time that popped into my mind, because when you go through something that's traumatic, it's almost like going through post-traumatic stress syndrome. That's how I felt. Like I've been going through all of these health challenges back to back to back to back. And now I had back surgery. And now I'm not only in bed, but I'm also depressed and having suicidal ideations and thoughts about, I don't know if I want to keep living. Think about what I'm sharing with you right now, because I know this is going to resonate with somebody, because it was hard. It was hard for me. And when I say it was hard for me, you got to remember, I'm a motivational speaker. So it's not like I'm a negative guy that just got depressed. Like, I'm a guy that inspires thousands of people all over the world, but I'm laying in the bed dealing with my own mortality, my own truth on what does my life mean. And I had to ask myself a very important question. Am I loved? And when you ask yourself that question, and you have the ability to articulate and process that question, there was a number of things that popped into my mind. And the first thing that popped into my mind, which was probably the most reassuring thing that I can share with you, is God loves me. Okay, now let's stop right there. I'm laying in the bed, bleeding, depressed, suicidal ideation. I asked myself, am I loved? And then the response that came back to me was that God loves me. Man, you want to feel inspired. You want to be hopeful. You want to have your mindset shift and change. Well, that's what happened. I realized that regardless of how people, we use these terms, unconditional love, we use, marriages and family, but at the end of the day, if I'm still alive and I've been through all of these health challenges and there's something bigger than me at play, I knew that worst case scenario, there was one person who has unconditional love, which is God. And as long as I'm still here, he loves me. And that is why I wanted to get and start what I'm sharing with you right now. I wanted to develop a show, a message, a podcast of Unstoppable that allows me to tell my story. And not only tell my story, but to inspire those of you who are going through similar situations in your own space. Man, that to me is a big deal because I know how it feels when you feel alone and you feel like nobody cares. And I love to tell this story because I think it's relevant. Sometimes people think that, a lot of the stuff that we see in Mother Nature when, survival of the fittest and, if there's a bunch of does, a bunch of deers, and there's a lion who wants to eat the deers, the issue is the deers will stay together. You know that, right? They'll stay together. They don't separate. But if one does separate, okay, so if all the deer stay together and he's trying to find and one of them decides to go off on their own, guess which one he's going after? He's going after the one that went on his own because now he's isolated. He doesn't have any support. He doesn't have anybody to support him and hide him and help him. And he's just on his own run, his own battle. And I promise you, once he gets him in that space, it's just him and the animal who wants to eat him. And you know how that unfolds. It doesn't unfold how we think it unfolds. So we have to make sure that we put ourselves in environments around people who will challenge us to continue to grow, continue to get better, continue to change, continue to evolve, continue to just be at our best in our best time. And those are the relationships that you need. But if you have people who don't want to do that, or this is going to sound even worse, people who undermine you and want to see you fail, because believe me, they are out there. We have to make sure that we understand the difference between those who will challenge us to help us move to that next level, and then those who will, set us up and undermine us just so they can see us have struggles and fail. Man, that's a big deal. And so I share that with you because I really want you to think about, two things. One, wisdom, strength, which I think is super important. And now I want to talk to you about peace. Because, we live in a time, and I'll say it again. We live in a time where the peace is, if you think about our lives and you think about our journey, I have a number of mentors that, talk to me all the time, deposit ideas, plant seeds with me, share ideas. And some of them are 80, 90, 100. And every time I talk to them, they say, man, I wish I had more time. They're 100 years old. Peace is part of that. Being able to have peace is big because it means that you didn't get caught up in all of the stuff that we see every day. If you watch the news or if you read the newspaper or anything that promotes negative ideas and thoughts, it's all around us. And who wants to be around that? Having that type of energy, just so you know, it's one of the worst things that anybody can have. And people don't want to talk about it, but it's true. Even right now, as I'm filming this, you don't realize that everything is energy. I'm looking at a table right now. It's energy. It's moving. It may be sitting still with my eyes. That's what I can see. But the truth is, everything is energy. So what type of energy do you have? Do you have negative energy or do you have positive energy? And those are two important things because for me, I have nothing but positive energy. Now, don't get me wrong. I have times where I have had negative thoughts, negative outcomes, negative ideas, which create negative, the process is a negative process. But most of the time, I'm in a positive space because I want to be the person that when you see me, they go, now that guy right there, his energy, what he's doing, he's in a positive space. And when he communicates only positive things. People don't realize what we say to ourselves when we talk about the word peace. It's important. Like probably the most important. And so every morning, as soon as I get up, I look in the mirror and I tell myself, resources, money comes to me easily and frequently. That's one thing that I tell myself. The next thing that I tell myself is that, we live in a time where you have to be able to encourage yourself on your personal vision. Like, what is your personal mission statement? What is it that you're saying to yourself every day to get yourself excited, give you purpose, give you a vision, and then get you up so that you get moving towards that, whether it's subconsciously or consciously. Like both of those things are happening. And then the other thing that I think people don't really take into consideration is that, we live in a time where everything that we say will resonate with us. So think about that. If we beat ourselves up, if we are too hard on ourselves, if we are living in a space where, if I make a mistake, I don't know how to respond. I got to be honest, people make mistakes all the time. They really do. And I just have to be transparent with my own dialogue to what I'm saying to myself, because those are the words that will stick because I'm with myself all the time. I'm with myself all the time. So I want to go back so you get a better feel. I already talked about a couple of things which I think are super important. Wisdom, right? Strength, and now peace. And I got one more, and then I hopefully will have given you just a snapshot of what I'm getting ready to communicate to you every time we connect, because I want to build a relationship. I want us to become good friends and be able to, send each other messages through social media and see if I can be of service to see if I can help you. Now, this last one, which I think is probably the most important, and nobody talks about it, but it is love, right? Love. I mean, we live in a time where, and it's interesting how our world, how our society has influenced how we take care of each other. There's this concept that everybody secretly, there's a bunch of haters in the world. Everybody wants to hate on you. Nobody wants to support you. Nobody wants to see you do good things. Everybody wants to play these games and take advantage and this and that. Well, that's not true. And there are people who are willing to love you because that's what they're supposed to do. Because that's the mindset. And here's the challenge. We're all taught to love. All of us are. Not just me. Like everybody that I shared with you before about the meditation, and if it's available to me, it's available to you. It's the same thing with love. Like you should be loving and serving and helping, because here's the thing. People always talk about, well, how come you are always smiling? How come you're always happy? How come you're always doing this and all that? Because the truth is why would I feel sorry for myself? Don't feel sorry for yourself. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, you need to figure out how can you go help somebody else to take the pressure off you and put it on them. So now that you're serving, I'm giving you some fire right now. How can you take the pressure off of yourself and focus on giving it to someone else to help them achieve their goals, help them achieve their dreams? Because that's really what it's about. People always talk about how much, money and how much type of cars and houses and how many houses you have and all this and all that. People don't realize if you die, that's not coming with you. You know that, right? I don't know if you understand. Ain't nobody taking your house and putting it inside your casket with you. They're not putting your car inside your casket. Like they're not going to bury you with your car. And so we have to be honest with what are we really doing with our time. And like I said, I have mentors right now. I got mentors right now who are 100 years old, 90 years old, 78 years old, saying, man, I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time. And they know that their days are numbered, and they're realistic and they're honest with themselves, but they wish that they wouldn't have wasted their time. And that's one of the messages that I want to make sure I share with you guys. We talk about love. I'm 50. I'm not going to waste my time. I want to make sure I love as many people who is willing to take what I have to give. And if you don't, if you don't like me, or if you secretly hate me and don't want anything to happen good, then it's okay. I don't want to give you that energy if you don't want it. But if you want it, I'm not going to discriminate. You already can tell. I just want to help people, man. And I want people to grow. And I want them to be at their best. Because at the end of the day, we're not taking our house. We're not taking our boats. We're not taking our toys. None of that stuff's coming with us. And at some point, and it's going to sound crazy, and I'm going to finish with this. At some point, we're all going to transition. We're all going to die. Okay, let me put it in. So I said transition, but really I'm going to jump to the end. We're all going to die at some point. So if we're all going to die, okay, let's put this in perspective. What are you spending your time on that's important to you in the time that you've been given? Now, we all have different ideas. We all have our own personal journey. We all have things that, I'm a spiritual guy, as you can tell, that we believe that God's given us. But then what else are you putting your time into? And then, are you disciplined enough? Do you have enough discipline to continue to do it? And do you have enough understanding that at some point, you know, we're all going to have a transition. We're all going to pass. And what we have done will be a part of our own personal legacy. It'll be how people will remember you after you've left. Some food for thought, something for you guys to think about. But, you know, I just look forward to sharing a number of ideas, a number of thoughts. I would like to tell one more story and then I'm gonna get off. But, you know, I just remember, you know, having heart surgery. And I like to tell the story because I don't think people really understand how challenging it is to have somebody, and I want you to put this in perspective. They went in through my rib cage, both sides. They deflated my lungs, and then they went in and then they cauterized the inside of my heart. One of the challenges that I have is my heart beats really, really fast. Like I have atrial fibrillation, so my heart, even though I'm sitting talking to you right now, look at everything looks good. Internally, my heart's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. And what it does is it puts pressure on your heart. It wears your heart out. And, you know, that's another reason why I meditate, because I'm trying to heal myself through understanding how to control my body and my mind, having that power to help me. They cauterized the inside of my heart. Then they came in, did the same thing through my groin. So they did the same thing, cauterized it again. And I thought that I was going to be good. I thought that my heart was going to be beating normal. And I remember, you know, I had so many tubes in me. I had tubes in my chest that was making sure that all my blood came out. I had all these scars on my side. I had all these things in my body. You know, I look like I was, you know, like I was in a movie of some sort, because my body was destroyed. And I was like, man, I look crazy. And I remember the doctor telling me, I need you to get out of the bed and get into the chair. And this is when I realized how challenging it is when somebody goes in and really messes with what keeps your body alive, your heart. I ended up getting out of the bed and moved into the chair. And as soon as I did it, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. Like, they put an oxygen mask over my mouth. I couldn't breathe for maybe 10 minutes. And it was nothing but oxygen coming into my lungs. And, you know, you don't realize, you know, how important it is to get the right amount of oxygen until somebody deflates your lungs. And they deflated my lungs, and it was hard for me just to breathe. And I remember going, I felt like I just ran like 9 miles. That's how tired I was. And I remember sitting in that chair going, my recovery is about to be an unbelievable testimony to my faith and how much I believe that I can keep going. And that's really the truth. And I remember getting up 2 weeks later and walking down the hall and walking back. And now, you know, if you look at me now, you know, I'm trying to keep my body right, because I realize that I've already seen some of the most darkest, hurtful, impactful, life-changing experiences through my own health journey. And I want to make sure not only am I going to do a better job moving forward, but I want to do a better job teaching. So those of you who are tuning in will get a better feel that you can do whatever you want to do if you make up your mind. Man, you have to have, and I'm going to leave you with this, and then I'm going to transition and get off. You have to have the right mindset. And I had talked to my doctor, and he had told me, he said, the reason why you've been able to recover from everything that you face, he said, is because you have an athletic side to you that doesn't let you give up, doesn't let you quit, doesn't let you make excuses, doesn't let you just come up with a bunch of reasons why you're not going to do it. Like, the truth is our minds are so powerful, but we don't give them enough credit because we're distracted by all the technology and everything that makes us get distracted. The truth is there's so much that we could be doing, but we don't want to do it because we have our own ideas of how it's supposed to be. And that goes back to something very simple, the word selfish. We're being selfish. But I'm not going to beat you up. I'd rather inspire you, because for me, I believe that now that I have an opportunity to share my thoughts, I think that there's going to be people who are going to really tune in and listen to what I have to say. And not only that, I'm going to bring a number of high-profile guests. Remember, I got people who are already stars that I'm connected to. And then I just would like to continue to leverage their stories to inspire those of you who are tuning in to become a better version of yourself. And that's really what my vision is. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I just think this has been a phenomenal opportunity. And, I just think all this information that I'm getting ready to share with you can be transferred and used in multiple areas of your life. I appreciate you tuning in to Fired Up, Derek Bowes Unstoppables, and I look forward to talking to you later.
Yes, thank you, Derek. That was the latest person to join the Fired Up Network, Derek Bowles, Unstoppables. You'll be hearing and seeing more of Derek. Great, great stories, and you won't believe who we have. You want big name guests? We have it. You want small name guests? We have it. Incredible, incredible stories coming up on Unstoppables with Derek Bowles. Now we're going to conclude the show. Tomorrow, there's a big premiere live event from the WWE, the Survivor Series from Boston. Yes, AEW, All Elite Wrestling Rampage, happened already. Now, SmackDown, 8 p.m., but the lead into SmackDown is right here, where the On the Mat report, where we preview Premier Live event, the Survivor Series, with myself, Giancarlo Lee, Martina Barnett. Here we go as we close out this special Black Friday edition of Fired Up Live. Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to a special edition of the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. And welcome to the On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of WWE Survivor Series, the premier live event, not the pay-per-view, Giancarlo. You said it's a pay-per-view. No, it's the premier live event. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. Giancarlo Lino, Martina Bernard. First of all, Martina, happy belated Thanksgiving. Did you have your turkey? Did you eat it too? Did you stuff the turkey or what?
Thank you. Here, we usually do ham and chicken because turkey is dry. I don't care what people say. Turkey is dry. Unless you fry it, it's dry, and we prefer ham around here. We're not vegans.
All right. So did you have a great with the family, friends, great Thanksgiving?
I did. I did. It was very nice. Thank you for asking.
All right. So you know who's going to have a great Thanksgiving? The fans. Premier live event, the Survivor Series tomorrow, 8 p.m. from Boston. From Boston. Used to be Boston Garden, but now it's Boston, home of the Bruins, best team in National Hockey League. Let's get to it. Seth freaking Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory in a triple threat match for the U.S. title. Martina, go ahead.
I think I feel like Lashley should get it back, but knowing Rollins, he probably has some tricks up his sleeve. So I feel like he's going to be the one to retain.
So you're saying Seth freaking Rollins.
You got it.
Now,
He's devious.
Why is he so freaking? Giancarlo, you want to answer that one?
I don't know. He added it to make his name sound cool, I think. I don't know.
All right, so who do you pick in that one, Giancarlo?
Yeah, I like the Seth Rollins pick. I think we're going to see him go over in this one, probably pinning Theory. Bobby Lashley probably dominate most of the match, but I have a big prediction here for after the match. I think Theory's going to be a little upset like he has been the last few months, and he's going to cut a heel promo on the crowd, and I think the "You Can't See Me" man is going to come out there. They're going to have a little confrontation, we'll say.
Gosh, Martina, okay, you've done shows with Giancarlo for roughly about 3-4 months, right? Has he been right about one prediction? One prediction been right.
I mean, he's I'd say he's pretty accurate.
No, the answer is no, because the answer is no. All right, this is what's going to happen. Who wants to know what's? This is not a spoiler; it's a prediction. Spoiler. All right, I believe since he lost the Money in the Bank briefcase and he has a new attitude, nobody is calling Austin Theory to win. Nobody except me. Austin Theory wins. He may not win the belt, but he wins. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's get. Arguably, I wanted to see this match for a long, long time. Giancarlo, you'll start us off. AJ Styles against Finn Balor.
Actually, I'm not really crazy about this. Like the build and everything with Judgment Day. I want to see Dominic involved because he crashed his own Thanksgiving party at his house, and Ray had to put the mask on.
If it's on his own house, how's he crashing his own? Like, if it's you coming into my house, that's crashing. We're going into Martina's house. Well, I'm invited. You're not. But anyways, that's called crashing. All right.
Ray Ripley was there. Like they were uninvited guests. Ray even had to put his mask on. Like he wasn't expecting it because I don't know if Ray eats with the mask on. So
okay, Martina,
it's bad.
You're American, right? The tradition of eating turkey, pulled pork, whatever you want to call it. Is there a tradition of eating turkey with a mask?
Not for normal people.
All right. So she just said not for normal people. Is Dominic or Ray or Judgment Day or Rhea Ripley, because she's mommy or daddy or whatever, they're all not normal. Giancarlo, make a pick already.
Yeah, I'm going to go AJ just because I think Ray's going to get involved. And I think Dominic, as soon as that segment was over, his mom probably told him to clean that crap up. So he broke a broom. And I think Ray has to get involved now just to keep everything at home under control. So Ray's going to get involved and cost Finn Balor. And I think this is going to continue on. And we'll probably see some seeds planted there for the Royal Rumble where this will probably pick up again.
Hold on. Didn't Ray move from Raw to SmackDown to get away from his son? But now he is on SmackDown and his son is bothering him too. Are we seeing the Judgment Day could be losing and then moving to SmackDown to take on Legado del Fantasma? I know he's bad or whatever, but nobody's bad, nobody's good. They just go ahead, Martina.
I don't think we're there yet. I think they're trying to wring every ounce of life out of this feud with Judgment Day and and him. And I did not see the full video of the crashing. Like, I saw it on my feed, but I didn't watch the whole thing. But I think their attempts to make Dominic likable are failing. I don't know what they need to do. We've talked about this before, but the problem has yet to be resolved. So I think AJ Styles is going to win as well. I think somehow or another, it's going to be some interference that's going to prevent Finn from getting a clean pin. I even foresee there being, he gets the pin, but then somehow the referee gets pulled out of the ring or something. You know how these things go, like, oh no, I had him, but there was no count. There's definitely going to be something to screw Finn out of this.
All right, so Martina, you'll start us off. This should take 3 seconds. Ronda Rousey versus Chauncey for the title. Go ahead.
If Ronda does not win this one, I will be absolutely appalled. I think this is a good way. I think they could have built up to this match better, because this is a good opportunity for Shotzi, because to this point, she's kind of been a jobber. She's kind of just done the honors. She hasn't really won a lot.
Jobber, not kind of.
I mean,
I'm more matches than Giancarlo.
But I mean, I like her. She's got a great look. I think she's good in the ring. I think she's kind of like Liv. Like, they could do more with her if they put more into her character and into her on-screen presence. But to this point, we've just seen her getting mollywopped by Shayna Baszler. And so I think Shayna Baszler is going to interfere somehow. And I'm 100% confident that Ronda will retain.
Giancarlo?
Yeah, I'm even confused of why this whole match even was set up. Like, what was the story? Like, Shotzi went from not even really being in that kind of role to on a big Premier Live event. She's challenging Ronda Rousey in what's supposed to be a big match. So I did agree. I think they should have done a lot more with her character and built her up. But this looks like it's going to end pretty quickly, and Ronda's going to retain.
My question is to Martina, what is Molly whipped? All right, for the War Games.
I can define. Mollywop is the PG way to say to get your beat. Trying to keep it PG. We're not at the TV-14 rating yet.
I'm more confused. What's it? Get your beat. What's an What's
ASS, Joe? ASS. You're not
Scissor me, Daddy! Oh, come on!
You are terrible at context clues, sir.
I set you up good for that one, man. I set you. Nobody scissoring. Come on.
No, because it's whack.
We gotta be. Never mind. Let's go.
Nobody likes that.
Let's go to the ladies' war game match. Martina, you'll start us off. Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka. What is Mia Yim's name? Who cares? It's Mia Yim. And to be announced, and I'll announce it soon, against Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Nikki Cross, and who's your mommy? Yeah, Rhea Ripley. Now, the one who's going to be announced, I know Martina thinks it's Naomi, Sasha Banks.
No, I
Bayley,
don't. Not anymore. No, I don't. Not anymore.
Becky Lynch. Go ahead, and I'll let Giancarlo talk, and then I'll tell you, out of the blue, somebody's going to fall down here. It's going to be, remember, the Survivor Series is known for the chicken coming out of the egg. Watch.
I think, okay, so originally I did think it might be Naomi or Sasha, but now I don't think that anymore, and all clues are pointing towards it being Becky, which to me, I'm like, it's hard for me to get excited behind that because we've seen that before. I am very much on the wave of let's see something we have not seen before. We've seen Bianca and Becky team up before. We've seen that, so I'm like, give us something new and fresh. But I know Becky has been away for a while, so give the Becky fans what they want. It is a lot of names in there. That's why I say Bianca et al. Versus the other team et al. But I really think we're going to see Team Bianca be successful here because it feels like they've got the upper hand here. I mean, Bianca's the champ, so even though on the other side you've got Damage Control, the tag team champs, but let's be real, the women's tag team championships, they ping pong back and forth, so they don't have the staying power that Bianca has here. She's been the champ for many, many months. I think she's a good leader. I think she's going to be able to rally the troops and get the win.
So what Martina's saying, the tag team champs have been molly whipped. All right, just remember that, Giancarlo. That's
Molly
right.
whopped.
Wop,
W
whip, same thing. Wop, whip,
WHO.
potato, tomato, whatever. Come on. All right, Giancarlo, who's your pick for the surprise entrance?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Becky Lynch here. Maybe even we'll see somebody get taken out of the match, and Beth Phoenix could join in too as a little swerve there. But I think Bianca Belair's team is gonna get the win regardless of who joins, who gets removed there. But after the match is we're gonna probably see something where Sasha Banks and or Naomi both come back, and a little stare down to let them know like who are they going to be going after, and you'll have to tune in on Raw to find out type of thing.
All right, who wants a spoiler prediction or whatever? Put your hand up if you want that. If you don't, then keep quiet. I'm still going to tell you it. All right. So, yes, Becky Lynch is penciled right now in. As of last night, you saw what happened on Raw, that Alexa Bliss wasn't fully participating in that scrum, let's call it that, because she's tied up with some guy who's howdy doody, put him that, right? I would say, and there's some speculation going around now, that howdy doody comes out and, or during the show, takes Alexa Bliss. So we have two spots open. Two spots open, meaning, Sasha Banks and Naomi.
If that happens, I'm going to lose my mind.
Listen, you're on the show. Haven't you lost your mind already? Doing a show like this? All right.
Not like that. Not like that. Like, that's a huge pop. And they're in Boston, which is Sasha's hometown. Like, the crowd is going to go nuts if that happens. I'm for it. I've said it before. Any way I can see Sasha and Naomi, I'm for it. I don't care how I get to see them. I just want to see them again.
Listen, that right now, if I put my money, I would still say Becky Lynch. Although last night I heard, Triple H eating turkey dinner and all that. That's what the plan may have changed now, and that's a better plan. Put it that way. That is a better plan. So, I strongly suggest that they go with that plan. All right, Giancarlo, you'll start us off with the men War Games match. The Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Rich Holland, Butch, Pete Dunne, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. Everybody put the ones up, even though I don't know why we're putting it up. But anyways, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, the Usos in the men's War Games match. Giancarlo, go ahead.
Yeah, I hope this is not like the same copy-paste format they've been using in NXT with the War Games match, where they have the same spot, somebody flies off the top of the cage, and they have the chair thing where they sit down and they want everybody to chant "Fight Forever." Like, I hope they do something different. Like,
Giancarlo,
I like calling the Saw matches.
He got it right. For once, he got it right. And the guy who's going to do the high spot is Kevin Owens. The guy who's going to take the blows is Sami Zayn. The guy who's going to look huge is Solo Sikoa. But the end of the show, it's going to be acknowledge me, Giancarlo. That's right.
Yeah, like, I like calling the Saw matches too, but like, you don't see every one of them looking the same where somebody's jumping off like Mick Foley and going through a table. So like you can do something different with all of them. I think they can challenge themselves with that, and there's a lot that can be done here. And I think this is a good way to do it with these collection of guys. I think the Bloodline might actually lose here. I think Sami Zayn's going to be the sacrificial guy here, and after this, I think this is where they start the whole turn there of the Bloodline slowly moving away from them. And at Royal Rumble, I think is where they finally attack them and take them out of the group.
Martina, he was doing so good till the last 2 minutes. He was doing so good. So I'm going, again, not a spoiler prediction. I'm the president of the province of Canada, Jewish guy who talks to a wise man quite often. Quite often. We stick together. Tribal. Anyways. Now, I believe that the Brawling Brutes who's going to lose is maybe Pete Dunne. Okay? And I'm going to say this. Sami Zayn is going to be the hero in this match, leaning towards Royal Rumble, the next Premier Live event, where somebody throws Sami Zayn out of the Royal Rumble. The next Premier Live event is in Montreal, where Sami Zayn teams up. He has a match, and he helps Kevin Owens wins, and that leads to Sami Zayn breaking off once and for all from the bloodline. Because you know why, Martina? I don't know if you know this. Sami is not blood. So his line is
I won't believe
flatlined.
it.
His line is flatlined. All right? So it should be Sami flatline, and he's not so oozy, juicy, juicy, fruity, and banana rama and all this stuff. All right? So go ahead, Martina.
As much as I never want to see the bloodline lose. Like everyone knows, I love the bloodline. However, I do understand that what you said, Giancarlo, this could be a way for them to appease the bloodline haters that want to see them lose without anyone losing belts, because the Usos titles are not on the line, Roman's titles are not on the line, so they could lose without losing at all, if that makes sense. And the Brawling Brutes, I do think that they need a win because the several matches that Sheamus had with Gunther, he didn't get the Intercontinental Championship. That everyone thought he was going to get, but he didn't win. They have not collectively gotten a lot of big, important wins on pay-per-views. They've won on Raw and SmackDown, but not on pay-per-views. So this could be a way for them to do that without making the bloodline look bad. I'm sorry, I'm over Sami. Like, no offense, but I'm over his position. I'm ready for them to turn on him because they've been teasing this for months.
You have something against Canadians?
Months. No, Canadians are awesome, but I'm over Sami. Specifically Sami, because they've been teasing it long. This, I take very similar to me, the level of dragging the feet. This is just like how, remember with AEW, the House of Black, they teased Julia Hart turning for months. They're doing the same thing with Sami Zayn. I'm like, stop dragging the feet, pull a trigger. And now I understand they've got to, pacing is important with the Royal Rumble and such. I understand, but it's like everybody is ready for them to pull that trigger. So I do think Sami Zayn is somehow going to be the one to somehow or another. I don't know how they're going to do it. But he's going to end up being the fall guy. Unfortunately, I do fear that they may lose. I never want to see them lose, but I fear that they may do it to appease the bloodline haters.
All right. So if the bloodline loses, okay, I'll tell you who's going to lose. It's not Sami Zayn. It's going to be the Uso who always start problems. All right. And then you'll see
he's just misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
You leave Jay alone.
Jay is not misunderstood. Jay has a conflict. He doesn't like Canadians. He can't come across the border. He doesn't like Sami Zayn. He doesn't like Kevin Owens. He does not like Canada. And
he doesn't like anyone who's not blood. That's his whole beef.
Yes, I just told you he's not blood, so he's not part of the bloodline. He's part of Flatline, and Flatline is Canadian. And since he does not like Canada, I am the president of the provinces of Canada. I tell every Canadian out there to disown the bloodline. We are number one. Canada, number one. And I'm sorry, Martina. You know what my good friend, the Iron Sheik, says? USA, hak, poo. That's what he says. Yes, Iron Sheik says that. All right? Canada, number one.
Messing with America over here.
Watch what I'm telling you. Canada, number one. We, the ones. Remember, February 18th, next year, Montreal. Remember that. We, the ones. All right? Now, as we conclude here, that's the Survivor Series Premier Live event preview, not pay-per-view preview. Anything in the wrestling world that you want to touch on, Martina?
Well, since I have not been on here since Full Gear, I would just like to say that most of my predictions came.
Come on. Who is the new heavyweight champion. What's his religion?
He MJF, who is Jewish, which everybody knew. Like everybody, I said that. I said he was going to win. Yeah, that was the big one that I'm like.
Wait, hold on.
Everybody knew
he won with the help of a.
Will you stop bringing religion, sir?
MJF,
just let him be great. I know, we know that though. I said that we're on the same team. I said he was going to win. I said William Regal was going to help him. They did exactly like I said. Cut me my check.
All right, John.
I'm a writer at this point.
Give her some of your zeros. All right. So, what about Full Gear that you want to say?
That most, like I said, most of what I said was going to come true. Jade retained, Jamie Hayter won, the Elite won, the Elite lost. That was the one I said I thought he was going to win. However, can we just talk about how I don't know if this is the right time, but I thought it was kind of funny. If y'all saw Dynamite, the shots that CM Punk that the Elite was taking were hilarious. I don't know if they meant for it to be as funny as it was, but I thought it was funny. Because they were not even trying to be subtle at all. Biting the arm, messing up the buckshot lariat. Like, they were not subtle. What did you guys think?
Not only did the Elite lose, they got hammered. Giancarlo, you know about being hammered. Go ahead.
I saw the match there on Dynamite. Matt Jackson, when he did that and froze, and that awkward moment, like the crowd, you could tell right away they understood what they were doing. So the Elite got the job done there. Kenny Omega's face just when he went for the bite, and I don't know what they're gonna do there. That seems like a touchy subject on a lawsuit for them and CM Punk. So I guess they could get away with it because it's a TV show and they're playing characters and it's just a story at the end of the day. But I hope it leads to just something like CM Punk coming back as a heel and just might as well make money off it at this point.
Well, I'll leave it with you. Do you believe, I'll start off Giancarlo here, do you believe CM Punk will ever be in an AEW ring? Or do you believe that Triple H gives him millions and millions and Titus O'Neil takes the millions, never mind, from him? And then we have a big time feud there between WWE and AEW with CM Punk and maybe Cody Rhodes or whatever. Because Cody Rhodes, some guys want to come back over to WWE from AEW, namely another good friend, not Jewish, another good friend of mine, Andrade El Idolo. All right? He's been Thanksgiving with Charlotte, who, by the way, is going to show up at the Survivor Series. Book it, bank it. If I'm wrong, blame Martina. All right? So, look, I'm telling you, Charlotte is going to show up. But you think, Giancarlo, I'll start off with you, he shows up in an AEW ring ever again?
If I'm AEW, I try to make it happen. I think it would be crazy not to at this point, but I think WWE, it just benefits more because if AEW continue doing that and CM Punk is a lot more upset, he's just going to go to WWE and then probably the price won't be as high and they can just benefit off that. So I think WWE's in the driver's seat here.
All right, Martina?
I agree that I wasn't really trying to see him much of anywhere, but after Dynamite, it's pretty obvious that I love how they're playing this game of like, we're not going to talk about it, but we're definitely going to talk about it. That's hilarious to me. And they were in Chicago, no less. So you can't tell me they didn't plan the hell out of that. So it's very funny. Like, we can't talk about it. We can't say anything, but we're going to do these very obvious jabs. So with that being said, I agree that I do think it could be, what do they say, chess, not checkers, if WWE has him pop up in some capacity, maybe not a full-time roster member, but if somehow or another, if they can find a way to bring him in, I think they would definitely have the upper hand.
So what we learned about this show is Molly whopped, whatever you want to say. And we know that Giancarlo cannot play chess, maybe checkers. Martina can play both. And she's Molly whipped everybody, right? That's what we learned, Martina, right?
Something like that.
All right. Thank you for the confirmation. By the way, Death Before Dishonor, 2 weeks from Saturday. Claudio Castagnoli takes on Chris Jericho. If because this just happened on Rampage. Rampage 4 o'clock, Martina. If you're wondering, 10 o'clock, you're not gonna see Rampage. All right, it's 4 o'clock. It just passed. Claudio Castagnoli against Chris Jericho, main event of Death Before Dishonor, December 10th. If Claudio loses, he has to join the JAS. Yes. And no, that is, and here it is. More news here. Not only does he have to join the JAS, him and Jack Swagger will team up once again. Maybe Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello could teach him how to kiss and everything like that, because that's all they do there, Ty and Sammy and all that, all right? But Sammy Guevara is another Sami Zayn. Just watch Sammy Guevara in the next basically month. Now, as we conclude, I'm going to ask you this. Giancarlo, start off with you. Your boy, because I'm going to call him out. Giancarlo said, "Oh, my boy, Ethan Page is going to win. Go up against my Jewish friend. Nobody will beat my Jewish friend." Anyways, Ethan Page, he's like the Hamilton Ticats. They're losers. Loser. Giancarlo?
Yeah, I think he misunderstood this kind of match. He's like, yeah, MJF, no biggie.
This guy's worse than Paul Heyman.
He was on Twitter. The Twitter got hacked. He had a lot to deal with, but I think they got other plans. I think this whole thing with Matt Hardy could be a sign that Jeff Hardy might be coming back soon. So I think they have another feud for Ethan Page, and it's Jeff Hardy.
Martina, God help me with this guy.
Very surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I was very, very surprised that they went with Starks over Ethan. Personally, I with Ethan, because his character's on fire right now. I feel like Starks was kind of losing steam. So I was very surprised with that decision. And I predicted Ethan to win. I'm rarely wrong. So I'm like, wrong. So yeah, I was surprised by that. So I think that they like you said, they probably got something else lined up for him. His whole Twitter being hacked thing, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of crazy though. If for those that don't know, Ethan Page's Twitter got hacked, and the person who hacked it was tweeting some very controversial stuff. And what I thought was crazy was the people that were agreeing with him. There were a lot of the things that he was tweeting, or they were tweeting, the hacker was tweeting. A lot of people were agreeing, and then many more people were in the comments like, "Who? This isn't you. I know this isn't your heart. Like, what is this?" But then, yeah, he posted on his Instagram that, like, yeah, I got hacked. So I don't know if that was real. I don't know if that was a kayfabe hack or if that was a real hack. Whatever the case may be, I would like to see them push his star more, because I mean, he's with the firm. I would say he's the standout of the firm right now. Him and Lee Moriarty are rising to the top. So we'll see, in the weeks and months to come, how that pans out with one of them challenging MJF.
It was the firm's fault that all this happened. Blame the firm. Secondly, I did some investigations, all right? I like, you guys don't investigate. I called my good friend Elon. All right. I called my good friend Elon. He could not confirm or deny it was a hack. Then I called my friend Musk. He did not confirm or deny it was a hack. So you know what? I'm the president of the provinces of Canada. I called Mr. Orange. Mr. Orange was busy tweeting away in the toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. He says he's running.
Orange Cassidy?
No, because he doesn't use his hands.
I think it rhymes with bump. The orange man that rhymes with bump.
Yeah, because Orange Cassidy doesn't look like a guy can tweet. He just barely goes up.
Let's give it to Orange Cassidy as we close this out. This guy, for a guy who doesn't really wrestle with his hands, this guy's more over than anything, man. And he defends the titles all the time. And what a hard bump. And we talked about, Martina said about Full Gear, what a hard bump Darby Allin took, like his back bleeding and everything like that. This guy's like 100 pounds, man. Come on. They got some good guys, but I urge Tony Khan, forget about your Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going nowhere fast. They're like Carolina Panthers. Get it, Martina? Like the Carolina Panthers, who are going nowhere fast. Forget about that. Start using Andrade. I don't know if you can use him because I hear he's gone. Start using other people. Where's my good friend Miro? You brought back the House of Black. Did you pay back Alistair Black a lot of money or what? What's going on there? Start using the people that you don't use. You got a roster of talent. Ethan Page, you know what? Ethan Page from Hamilton. Well, I won't hold him against it. Ethan Page should have gone over Ricky Starks. You're telling me what would be a better fight? You already built it. Ethan Page and MJF. Ricky Starks and MJF? Give me a break. What are they making? Both of guys are sitting there making movies while doing a match? Come on. By the way, exclusive news. MJF just has texted me. You know why, Martina? He's my Jewish friend. He said good Sabbath to me. Unlike other people who don't say Shabbat Shalom to me. Anyways, so he was saying good Sabbath, and he said this movie is going to rock. It's going to be bigger than Black Adam. Bigger than what was the Rock's movie, The Tooth Fairy or whatever? Bigger than that. All right? And he was even telling me there's already projects. You know, The Miz has the what's that series, the movies he had, like 6 of them or whatever, CIA or whatever.
The Marine, yeah, 97, 98, 99.
Yeah, Marine 1, 2, 3, 4, 88. All right. He was saying there's thoughts already of having I'm not going to tell you the name of the movie, but already like 4 or 5. Look, I'll give you the quote. First of all, he's speaking Hebrew to me. Then he says, this is even bigger than the Marine. There's even thoughts that I'm going to participate in my own spin-off of the Marine, of another show, and Arthur Fonzarelli was involved in this movie. Arthur Fonzarelli. Do you know who that guy is, Giancarlo?
Yeah, I do.
Martina, you don't know.
Can we explain? Because now
Arthur Fonzarelli was Fonzie of Happy Days, but you know why he was involved in that movie? Because he's Jewish. All right, Martina. Martina, start us off. Tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
I feel like I need to convert to Judaism in order to fit in around here.
I didn't say that, but if you want to join the tribe, I'll get you a wise man, and a world heavyweight champion. You can't lose there.
I mean, salvation and a title. What more can you want? That sounds pretty good to me.
Amen.
So I'm Martina. You can find me at SlamHostMartina. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere you want to be, I'm there. You can also catch my show, The Slam, on hiatus this week, but we will be back next week. And I will be giving, the latest and greatest, what's going on in the world of wrestling. It's a little slow this time of year because we're closing out the year, but I am going to have some year-end videos kind of recapping 2022, so stay tuned.
And also, you can read Martina on firedupnetwork.ca. She does a great. I think who's gonna? Let's do a coin toss here. Who wants to do the review of the Survivor Series, not the pay-per-view, the Premier Live event? Giancarlo, I'll flip the coin. All right. Here's the coin. All right. Who you call? I'll give it to Giancarlo. Heads or tails, Giancarlo? Call it already. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, well, you're supposed to call it when the coin's in the air.
All right, the coin's in the air. Go ahead. Look, it's dropped. Just call it.
I missed it. I just missed it.
All right. So that means Martina is doing it. And Giancarlo is yes.
This game is rigged. What is that?
This is more rigged than Sami Zayn, part of a bloodline. All right. So there you go. Martina's going to write.
That's a Vince McMahon finish right there.
Yes. And,
call tails and have 2 heads on both sides of the coin.
Yes. And thank God for my remote here, okay? So that's it. All right, so Giancarlo, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at John_411, Instagram at Carlo_Alino. Check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca and sportskita.com. And if you're in Toronto, check me out on Vibe 105.
And Martina, I got your back. So Giancarlo, since Martina is doing basically your work, you're going to give her a Christmas present. And Martina, there's a month left. The Christmas present, because Giancarlo's a cheapskate, is only $5 or less. So maybe you can buy a chocolate bar because
a donation and your name has been made to the Human Fund is what I usually go to every year. So
the Human Fund, I'm gonna, by next week when we're doing the wrestling show here on the Fired Up Network, I'm gonna make a call. I'm gonna make a call because I know the Human Fund is run by a Jewish person. All right, so there you go. I'll make the call. Thanks a lot, guys.
A donation in your name. I'm gonna have to use.
Well, thanks a lot to Giancarlo Lino and Martina Barnett as we preview tomorrow's WWE Survivor Series premiere live event from Boston, 8 p.m. And that will conclude a special Black Friday edition of the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Thanks to everybody who participated in this show. 3 hours, 49 minutes, and we don't end. Right now, 8 o'clock, SmackDown for all your AEW Rampage results and World Cup results. Check out the Fired Up Network on 208 platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, even Alexa now, and we'll have a SmackDown update right when SmackDown closes out. Again, tomorrow, WWE Premier Live event. I want to take this opportunity and say happy anniversary to Patricia. Have a great weekend, and hopefully you did enough buying on Black Friday. Yeah, Giancarlo, Martina, did you get me a present at least? Come on. All right, stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network.